flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided, indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session. Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council was in executive session for approximately 45 minutes tonight. Topics of discussion were EMS contractual, a personnel matter regarding a grievance, and discussion of a resident's complaint and the possible hiring of an expert. The minutes from executive session will be available at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go into old business.
Roll call.
Oh, did I forget roll call? I always forget
Councilman
something.
Belcaro.
Here.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Here.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Here.
Council President Chesla.
Here.
Mayor McKay.
Here. And before we go into old business, we always have a tradition of going into public comment for agenda items only. So I make a motion to open the floor to public comment for agenda items only.
Motion.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any questions? Very good. Now,
We got one.
What? One up.
Sorry.
Didn't see it.
Still, by the way.
You gotta put your hand up high. Okay.
Carlos Correa, 82 Pudding Stoneway. I wonder if the agenda could be a little more informative so that we could make comments like, I don't know what number 7 is or number 8 is about. So is it possible that when you get to those items, then you open it up for the public comment so that we have a fair chance to be able to say what we think about the volunteer policy or the administrative policy? Because at this time, I had no idea what the policy is. I haven't read it. So that's a question that I have, if we can actually change the way the meetings are being done so that we'll be able to actually give an input to what is being said before we don't even know what's going
I'm
on.
hoping one of these will help me, the administrative policy, because presently I don't know what the things are.
So you haven't seen the agenda and the minutes for the administrative policy?
Yeah, that's hopefully, the administrative policy is going to give guidelines towards how we receive information so that we can compile this agenda and then come in front of you with, forethought of not, we'd be able to have read the things before we get here thoroughly, and which is not always the case the way it is now. So
I think he's asking, he wants more information.
Yeah, what I'm
Carlos
asking
wants
is
more
if it's possible to, like, when you discuss number 7, that you will allow us to make a public comment at that time, instead of making the comments right at the beginning.
So you're looking for a more comprehensive agenda where it fully explains what the line item is and you're not guessing what it is until after we discuss it?
Yeah, because like number 4, it mentions an amount of $1,000 for the year 2015. So you're saying that you're gonna, when she reaches $1,000 for the whole year, that's it. She won't be able to pay more bills.
Oh, no.
we'll explain as we go along.
But the way that it's written is the
Right.
way that is.
We can always comment at the end of the meeting as well. There's public audience participation at the end of the meeting.
The problem with that, Maureen, is that time the ordinance has passed already. You voted already on it.
It's public
So-
hearing. We open that for public hearing. An ordinance, a second reading,
Right.
correct? The
So-
audience can comment on
But
that.
that's what I'm doing right
yes.
now, or you're gonna do it
No,
when
you
we
can
come to
comment
number
again
4?
there.
Number 4 has to go to public hearing.
It's second.
Okay,
No.
so number 4, I'll be able to comment about when you talk more
Yes,
about it.
yeah.
But I also gonna say that it has to be more explained on the agenda. Because there is an item here, like $1,000 makes it look like she only can do it for the whole year 2015. And to me, that's not what you guys want.
Right. No, that's not.
You're looking for $1,000 a month.
In
For
between
recipients.
bills.
You can
Right.
have a copy of the ordinance.
It's online too, I believe, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, but, I mean, make the agenda a little better. That's all I'm asking. The agenda has to be a little more explicit. It's something about,
Give you just the backup, maybe.
Right, maybe we could have some backup.
Or could these be It's 7 outside and then the ordinance is-
You'd have to come up, Jim.
So is the agenda, is the ordinance in the internet?
Yes, that one should be on there, yes, and it's
in
advertised.
the newspaper.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a special, all second readings of public hearings, of ordinances have their own public hearing. So they'll open it up, they'll say what the ordinance is, maybe they'll give if they think it requires an explanation, they'll give an explanation, and then the public has the chance to come up and discuss that entire ordinance just on its own.
But number 8, we don't have the chance to say anything unless I say it now.
That's what this is for right now. You could come up and say, could you give me a little more information on that? And they may give it to you now, they may tell you you have to wait till they get to number 8.
So can I get more information on number 8, please?
We want to wait.
I think when we get to number 8, we'll have a fairly comprehensive discussion, so.
Okay, thank you.
Carlos, I can, I'll comment, after the public, after the public comment closes, I will comment for you, before
All right,
we.
I will come out for that as well, more likely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yvonne Ridemeyer, 27 Burlingport. I know you guys have a ton of important stuff to talk about in executive session, but rather than leave the public standing like cattle for a half hour, is it possible to maybe stop executive session at 7:30 and you guys pick it back up after the meeting rather than make us stand out there? It's hot, it's crowded, and it's really not fair to the public. So just a suggestion.
I agree.
Okay, motion to go out of public comment session? Motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
I just want to say something now that the public comment has been closed. I'd like to respond to Yvonne first. The things that are put on executive session, had they have been, the 3 things were lengthy. And I think some of these things may have been able to have waited until another meeting. And for people to jam this agenda with all these things, set everything up for failure. So I think one of these items could have waited, and it could have avoided some extra time, or actually 2 of these items. So I think that there could have been a better way to do the agenda and realize how much time some of these things would have taken, and maybe done a better job of putting these things on the agenda. As far as Carlos, I agree that we just can't put administrative policy, agenda, and minutes. It would be helpful to have maybe a little bit better of an explanation on there so you know exactly what that means. Are we voting on something? Are we not voting on something? It would be better for us to have a little bit better of a comprehensive agenda here. So this way everyone knows exactly what's going to happen. That as of right now, you don't know what we're voting on. When you say administrative policy, volunteer policy, or pool membership rates, you don't know that we're voting on those things. So it'd be nice to actually say that it's being voted on, just to give you a little bit more clarity on those. Thank you.
We could always limit executive session to 1 item, or we can start earlier, or like you said, a lot of townships and boards go into executive session. They stop at the hard stop when the meeting is supposed to start, and then they go back into it.
Yeah, and that would be great if we didn't have, 50 things on the agenda tonight, and then we'd be here again till, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. So I think we could better use our time and our efforts by looking at these line items one by one and making sure that they're either we're giving ourselves enough time for all 3, or we limit it and we take something off that's not as urgent.
No comment.
Okay. Old business. We're going to try to run right through these, and hopefully we can make some progress. Ordinance number 1502, second reading and public hearing of the Township of Lopatcong, County of Warren, and State of New Jersey, creating Chapter 63, Volunteers, Article, Criminal History Background Checks of the Code of the Township of Lopatcong. In other words, this is being added to the code to give parameters around when we can get criminal background checks on people. This is the second reading.
what do we do from there?
You have to open it.
Each one. Yeah. All right, we'll open that one for public comment because it is an ordinance.
Motion.
No, motion. Motion, second. All in favor?
Yeah, we got a second.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is, are you gonna explain this one, Katrina?
Sure. I mean, I think the mayor did a pretty good job, but for anyone else, let me just have it right here. It's for criminal background checks, including but not limited to coaches, assistant coaches, umpires, or similar positions involving educating, directing, or supervising youth in the township-sponsored youth program, and those volunteers in the township-sponsored program involving the elderly or infirm, or those serving sponsored program, same thing, fire and rescue operations. So it's coaches, the elderly, handicapped, fire and rescue. And it's just a process for how we do it. There's a statute that sets forth for the coaches, so we're following that same guideline. So the things that are disqualifying offenses in that statute are going to be the same that are disqualifying.
I just wanted to ask if this is any different because I had to fill out a form for a background check.
That didn't go, that wasn't processed because we didn't have an ordinance and we're not doing it.
Oh, okay.
Unless you are involved in the youth organization. But
I do have a background check through scouts and everything. I just wasn't sure if we didn't already have one because, like I said, I was asked to fill out a form for one.
Those were discarded.
How do we make the determination, like with the elderly and the infirm, on what committees would or not? Like with recreation, since we have like community day and we're working with all, do we have to do that?
I think it's only ones that are directly. So, for example, if there was a senior organization in the township that involved seniors, we actually worked one-on-one with seniors if we went to the care center or something. But if you're just planning activities for them, not necessarily, but the council can make a decision if there's a question that comes up.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, Carlos, did you have a question, Carlos?
Yeah, on the ordinance? Yeah.
I don't have the ordinance with me, but who's going to pay for the background check? Because the way I read it, it can be charged back to the volunteer.
I don't think it said anything about charging them.
I mean, it was a very long ordinance in the newspaper.
It says it may charge any person required. I know the LAA has been paying for the background checks for their people.
So in the future, what's going to happen when somebody volunteers for the planning board or whatever, background checks? But in the future, it's going to be charged to the volunteer, the background check? Or you can change the ordinance and take that word out of there?
The LEA has been paying for the background check. That's really all who's probably still going to get the background checks.
Okay.
Yeah, it says the township, in its discretion, may charge to any person required to submit it to a criminal background check the actual cost paid to outside agencies for obtaining the criminal history. Right.
Do we know what that cost is right now?
I believe it's $10 for the
Okay.
LAA per coach. The LAA covers it, but the LAA
I
money
thought
is
that
not
it was
your
something
tax
like
dollars.
$200 or something, so,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Okay, motion to come out of public comment?
Motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Kessler?
Yes.
Mayor McKay?
Yes. Item 2, ordinance number 1503, second reading and public hearing, to regulate, control, and stabilize rents through the Rent Leveling Board for a 3-year period. Motion to open to public comment? Motion. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Welcome to public comment on that one. Are there any public comments? Okay, motion to come out of public comment? Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
I received some changes that some people are interested in seeing in this, but we just got it today. So I think maybe we'll address that in our next meeting. But I just want to let them know that we can work on that in the future, so we won't ignore those issues. We'll prepare it for discussion for our next meeting, and we can amend, right, Katrina?
Well, yeah, we just do another,
Okay.
another ordinance.
Another ordinance.
This ordinance is just extending rent
extend it.
control out 3
Right.
years. It doesn't make any changes to your current ordinance. It didn't even relist your ordinance. It just says rent control is continued.
Right.
Right.
So what you're talking about wouldn't pertain to what, Maureen, what this is? It's an entirely different ordinance, or is it something regarding?
It's within the rent control ordinance itself. It's just a section within it that someone recommended changing.
Okay.
But it's separate and apart. It's the same ordinance, but it's,
Okay.
right now you're just extending it out, and then you can work on later if you want to make changes to it.
Okay, would it be better to maybe table it or
No.
to pay for another ordinance?
Because then we won't have one in effect.
Right.
We won't have a rent.
And you need it
ordinance.
because of the timeline?
Right.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesley.
Yes.
Mayor McKinney.
Yes. Ordinance number 1504, second reading and public hearing to amend, revise, and supplement Chapter 219 entitled Trees to change the number of members from 3 to not less than 5 and no more than 7. Changed appointment from mayor with consent to just mayor, and change the term length from 3 years to 5 years. Again, this has, we have to do a motion to open to public comment.
Motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment on the, this changed essentially to meet statute. The statute called for more people to be on this committee, and we only had 3 the way it was. So we just wanted to expand the number of people so more people can get involved in the shade tree thing. So that's the reason we're doing it. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Motion to come out of public session?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please. Oh, discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesley.
Yes.
Mayor McKinney.
Yes. Ordinance number 1506, second reading and public hearing, authorizing the Township CFO to pay certain bills, claims, and invoices in an amount of $1,000 for the year 2015. All right, we have to go into public. Motion to go into public.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. We're in public. Anybody have any questions?
Sure.
All right. Okay. All right. Looks like this one isn't a hot one for comment, so motion to come out of public comment?
Motion.
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second. No,
All right, discussion?
I just wanted to clarify for the folks that that means in between our meetings that the CFO has the authority to pay bills up to $1,000. It doesn't mean for the entire year, it just means in between our meetings. So, if we're not having another meeting for another month and there's some urgency, or a resident has put forth their money for uniforms for the kids, or any other small invoice, that the CFO has the authority to pay those without having to wait till the next meeting to approve the bills. So that's
Yes.
what the
Emergency
cap on
stuff.
there is up to $1,000.
Now, this is enough, if we run into the problems that we've been having with the gas cars not having any money, this will be enough money to get them going.
If-
I don't know how
if
much it
isn't,
usually is.
We can do other things. but,
Okay.
Yeah. Chief had some interest with filling up the fire engines the other day, and we didn't have enough money, so we managed to do it. Okay. Motion to come out of public comment?
I think it was roll call now.
Yeah.
Oh, it was roll call?
Yeah.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesley.
Yes.
Mayor McKinney.
Yes. Ordinance, this is item 5, ordinance number 1507, second reading and public hearing to establish a cap bank for calendar year 2015. Motion to go into public.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're opening this one up to public. What is it? CFO will explain it. She likes this one.
It's it provides the governing body the authorization to increase our appropriations by an amount higher than the 2% that we are normally slated to be capped at. This goes up to 3.5%, even though our appropriations in the introduced budget come nowhere near close to that. The difference between the 3.5% and the amount that we're actually using will be set aside in a cap bank for us to utilize until the next 3 years, at which point it'll lapse. So it just provides a kind of a spending cushion in case we would need it in future years.
That's the perfect, it's a spending cushion.
And it's done every year, correct?
I'm sorry?
It's done every year.
It's very standard to be done
Right.
every year.
Okay, motion to come out of public session.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman O'Carroll.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Yes. The pool membership rates for 2015. Now, this is the list here. Has this changed, the one? You got the same one?
Yeah, we have the same one.
Do you want to cover that?
Yeah, I'll cover that. What we did, and we took what information we had, historical information we had, and what we're trying to do is figure out the rates. Excuse me. With the hopes of increasing attendance at the pool and increasing our bottom line, of course. I had the Recreation Committee, especially Eric Johnson, spent a lot of time in evaluating the rates with what information we had. With the budget the way it is, we want to be very careful because we do have to do some improvements to the pool this year. So what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to keep the main rates the same from last year. And we're going to do increased tracking of who's coming when and what passes they're buying, so we can kind of figure out who, where we can best utilize any increase or decrease to help us with our bottom line. We did add a few things, however. We now established a camp rate of $2.50. So if there is a camp there, it's only $2.50 to swim. We added something new, an adult morning swim. So this is for adults that want to come. It's $5. They can come before it's open to the public, and essentially before the children are there, so they don't need to wait for adult swim the whole period. Adult swim. The swim team will be there, but there'll be a section of pools that they can use. In period, that might be nice for them if people want to do laps before they go to work, or if they just want to come and not have to, wait for adult swim before they can go in the pool without all the kids. We also have, do we have our twilight rate on here?
No.
Okay, the new rate that, we also wanted to propose a twilight rate. This would be for, I think we said like from 5 to 8, we would charge a discounted rate for people who just want to come then, from just that time. Kind of like when you go to an amusement park and they charge you a little less because you're not going to be there as long. And we think it might encourage families to come, parents who work, to come after work instead of spending, $5 or $6 each person. We're going to bring it down to, what was it, $3 or $3.50 to come in, so they can come in after hours, bring your kids, and at least you get a few hours, especially in the summer when the evenings are long, and it's not a huge cost to them. And maybe they'll just get them in there, and maybe they see they like the pool, they'll get a pass next year. That's what we're trying to do. So to make it a little easier for people, because I know, you get home from work around 5:30, and it's like, well, do I have to spend $20-something to come to the pool? If we can lower that, maybe they can come and have some fun. Every other rate was the same, correct?
Yeah. the other
$3.50
thing-
you said on the twilight rate?
Yeah, $3.50.
The other thing I think you were considering is anybody at the age of 18 has to
Oh,
get their
yes,
own
that's right.
pass. But if they're a college student, they could be included,
Yes.
in the family rate.
The family rate will now include the college students who are living at home, so they don't have to. What we're doing now is you had your family rate for your kids that were still under 18, and the poor college child had to buy their own pass. And now, really, how often are the college students coming? Probably not very often, so we might as well just throw them in. And maybe they'll come, and they eat a lot, so they'll spend money. So that's our theory.
Are any of these rates, anything that Eric proposed other than Twilight and
The
Camp?
Twilight-
Adult.
The Twilight and the college students.
Those are the only two?
Mhm, yes.
So none of the resident, non-resident, all the
All the others.
analysis he did, you didn't take that into?
We did take it into consideration, but we want to continue on with it, and we really want to measure this year's, we want to break it down even further. Eric and I talked, we're going to get a counter that they can do it a little better, just because we definitely don't want to lose money, and we need just a little bit more research to see who is actually coming.
Okay. Does Eric know that you've proposed these rates, or?
He's on vacation.
Right, so you didn't know before you went on vacation what you were doing with it?
No, we did not know.
Okay.
And again, we had talked to him, we weren't sure what we were going to do, and I have repeatedly told him that we appreciated his work and all the work of the Recreation Committee, because all the committee had input on the rates.
Okay.
Okay, now, are you proposing that this be voted on?
Yes.
Okay. Would you,
So I make a motion to approve the pool rates for 2015?
do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Cheslin.
Yes.
Mayor Mikel.
Yes. All right, moving right along, volunteer visitor policy. This is item 7, and it concerns a visitor's log. Now, this is something that was brought to the council last regular meeting, and it was a longer version. This is something that I believe, Ms. Chesley,
Yeah.
you could provide.
As just a start, as a basis for council to try to come together and figure out a visitor volunteer policy. We certainly don't want to push anybody away. We don't want to, I mean, we were concerned, we didn't want to label our volunteers because we didn't want to say like, oh, you're more important than another person, because every single volunteer is very important. And they do a lot of work, meaning in some cases, certainly they do more work than council. So what I proposed was, first, we have a visitor's log. So this way, if we do see that there is a problem, we can say, oh, look, this person's coming in every day. What are they doing? So I listed from the other policy, the secure areas would be considered the offices of the clerk, tax collector, tax assessor, CFO, and mayor, because those are behind, they can be behind locked doors. And any visitor, whether a business person, resident, or volunteer that needs to access any secure area of the building shall fill out a visitor's log. Certainly not if you're just coming here to pay your bill. You're not going to have to fill out a log. Part of what you really need to figure out, like where the person is going. For instance, if the LAA treasurer is coming in to go over bills and banking with the CFO, then obviously the best place for him to be is in the CFO's office, so she can go on her computer and do this. And it's not, we don't want to inconvenience anyone. So basically what I said was the nature of the visit will determine where the visitor will remain during their visit. If they are there to work with an employee, the employee will determine where it is best to work. If they are there to review records, the keeper of the records in question will determine if the records can leave the office where they are kept. If they can, then the visitor can go where they are most comfortable. If they cannot, the visitor and the records will remain in the view of the employee. And then I also added, if any employee feels any visitor is visiting excessively, they shall bring their concerns to the administrator, who will review and discuss with the council, and then discuss with the visitor to find a compromise that will work for everyone. That was the bare bones. If anybody wants to add anything to it,
I suggest that maybe you and the lady at the end there, Ms. Schneider, can you get together and work on the final one, just like you're doing with the other item?
Sure.
That would be good, and then we could have.
If everybody would be willing to give any contributions, as I'd like to see, Maureen, Lou.
Yeah, we can, we can take maybe a happy medium between the 20-page old one that is pretty much outdated. Tom had a 2 or 3 page one, and then we have a shorter one, so maybe we can take them all and combine it and come up with some happy medium for everyone.
Good. Okay, so. All right, next item, item 8, is the administrative policy. Now, this again is something that we've been struggling with to put together. You may hear a lot of complaints up here that the process for building the agenda is not very controlled, and it leads to sometimes to be very difficult for me because I have to go through everything and know what it's all about in order to present it in some fashion. So we need to have some kind of parameters, and of course you can let something that's an emergency come through, but generally speaking, you should have the things in it within a couple of days before the meeting so people have the opportunity to study them and make a decision. So this is another effort here, and again, this is another thing I'd like to put to that.
Okay, yeah.
All right?
Because I took a lot of things from what you had. I mean, the only really, with the agenda, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but the only thing like we're trying to do is that like council should have the agenda in the packet on Friday, so then they can look it over the weekend and see if they need to make any changes or any additions or if they have any concerns. And as far as like with the posting of the agenda, I suggested that the clerk can send whatever agenda she has by the close of business Monday. We post that. So now that's 48 hours before the meeting. And then if council has any changes, we'll go through that. And then before the close of business on the day of the meeting, they can send the actual agenda that we have at that point in time to put that there. So this way that matches closely what's on the dais. And then again, with just like flexibility, what we want to do, and like what I had said, is that the goal of council should be to provide the best possible customer service to our residents by remaining as agile as possible while still being as diligent as possible in our research. So that's what we're trying to balance here.
Okay, now, in one of the versions of the current agenda, it speaks to adding minutes to that.
Yes, I have a little minutes guideline. And this is like we've been going back and forth with this. Past council, over the years, council has, decided on different things for their minutes, and recently we wanted them to be as verbatim as possible. The meetings are getting very lengthy. We have more of them, and it is a lot to go through. We also have videos on there now. So again, as a compromise, we think, well, this is just my suggestions again, you include a comprehensive summary when council discussion is taking place, especially during anything that we have to vote. You include a comprehensive summary of council reports so that somebody who isn't here actually understands what's going on. Like if we're talking about Community Day, it doesn't just say, Council President Chesla, Community Day. So they actually can read it and say, oh, look, Community Day is on this day, things like that. Include a brief summary of public comments. One of the suggestions I had, so we don't need to be verbatim, is that we include the corresponding timestamp from the video on each section in the minutes so you can see where it is. So if you want to see a discussion of a particular ordinance, you can just go there. Because lately, the videos are like 4 hours long. I mean, nobody's going to sit there and do that. We wouldn't even see a really good movie for 4 hours. And the thing that we do have to realize is that we need to have the minutes regularly available for us to approve. So regular meeting minutes should be available for approval at the next regular meeting, and special or emergency meetings within 2 meetings, with the realization that the day-to-day operations of this township need to come first. And if there's vacations, illnesses, and stuff like that, we want to make sure we have some leeway with that, and we're not, penalizing any employees for that.
Right. But presently, I think we're 4 sets of minutes behind or something. So this is a good thing. This is what, several of us have been trying to get going here. So I'm very happy that there's some compromise here. This is good. Very good.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to vote on these just yet. I would like to.
No, we're supposed to meet and get everybody's
That's part of
suggestions.
All right, I want to make sure for that too as well.
Yes,
Okay,
that's part
thank you.
of that.
Okay.
Would you like the clerk to? Oh, I'm sorry. I was, since you have minutes that are outstanding, perhaps you'd like the clerk to attempt to prepare the minutes as outlined in the policy, and then maybe you can all see what it's like, and maybe you'll get them a little quicker. Just a suggestion. It's completely up to you, but you can formally be adopting the policy, but maybe you can see how it plays out.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Well, starting at this meeting, not going back 4 meetings ago.
No.
Starting from this,
One says she hasn't started.
from this meeting.
No, from the
Yes.
ones she hasn't.
If she
I don't know
hasn't
what she started.
I have March 4th and March 18th that are outstanding.
Okay.
Yeah. It's only
So why don't we do them the
Have you started any
verbatim
of
way and
those?
do these, the new ones after that, April?
Yep.
Right?
She'll do whatever you tell her to.
We'll start
Yeah.
fresh from April 1st.
Yeah, April 1st. And it's not an April Fool?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
They're going to take a little while because one of the meetings is over 4 hours.
Yeah.
All right. The next item is Mayor McKay's non-consent appointments. Here we go. We have, for the Shade Tree Commission, 2 appointments.
Mhm.
We have Christy Victor, and her term will end December 31, 16, and Martin Swim, who we are all happy to know is back and he's in action after a
He just left, yeah.
he just left. He had a serious illness, but he's back and he'd really like to get going on something. So he would end at December 31 of 17.
What about Lee and Lisa? Did you give them a term?
Yeah, they have terms from previous minutes. Lisa was 12/31/17, and Lee is 12/31/15. So we've got one for 15, 16, and 17. We just made Marty another one for 17. The one after that will be 16 again.
Okay.
So we'll keep keeping them staggered. Now we also have for the Environmental Commission. We have a gentleman named Jonathan Fox, and his term will end 12/31/17. And Judy Liptak, she would like to serve on this committee as well. Frank Jankowski, who was on the committee, then he left, and then he said, well, let me go back on. I'll assume the term of my son, who was also on the committee, but now he's elected not to serve on the committee. So we need to replace him, and that would be in his term would end December of 15, the term that he fills.
So that's what Judy's taking?
Yeah. Judy.
Okay.
Okay. Now we have to do the next item. Okay, stagger the terms of the rent leveling board. Now, the rent leveling board somehow through time ended up with 2 people. It's a 3-member board. 2 of the people are on the same year, and we have to stagger years so they should, for when the terms of their service would come to an end. The first member that I'll address is Jim Mangucci. He's the most recent member, and so he would keep his term ending in December of 17. Stephanie Wilson, she will be December of 16, and Catherine DeVos would be December of 15. So now we have it staggered. Okay.
Do you need to vote on those or no?
You probably should do a motion for that one, just to have a formal action.
Excellent. At the last meeting, I think Rich said just do it, but I'll vote on it if you want to. Whatever you think's best.
Only because there's a record of them now that shows a different term. This way you'll have a resolution in the file, so if this ever came up again.
Yeah, we don't
It's
want
not
that.
necessarily necessary, but it
All
can
right,
hurt.
then I'll make a motion to for those 3. The
Resolution?
reconstitution of the rent leveling board, the way the committees end terms.
Motion.
Motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion?
Were they asked what terms they wanted?
No. I tried to do it fairly.
Is anybody from
You
the,
want that in a resolution form, like you said? Did you recommend that?
Yes, I recommend that.
are there any, and I see some of the rent leveling board here. Are there any, do you have any
Questions?
questions, or you okay with it? You don't care? Okay.
Okay, now we fixed that one.
Roll call?
Roll call.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesney.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Now, checking through my many agendas here. Is that the last one we have for?
Yes.
Okay, so now we'll go into new business. For resident John and Mary Potts, North Prospect Street sanitary sewer easement request. Do we have any information on that?
Do you have an email from the engineer on that?
Good.
Oh, they're here.
Oh, they're here. Okay.
Yeah, over there.
Come on up.
Hi.
Hello,
Hello. How are you?
hello. Mary Potts, 315 North Prospect Street.
Welcome.
Thank you. we're here because you want us to give you the easement from our property.
Right. The town engineer is not here tonight, but, okay, yeah, I think I know the situation. So where the sewer pipe crosses the stream there?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And Ms. Campbell sent us paperwork back in September, which we didn't sign. She sent it again recently, last couple of weeks. As I told Mr. Sturbins, he came to our house a couple of weeks ago. We had a brief discussion, told him I would rather come before the committee on record. There's a couple things that we're not comfortable with, just due to past experience with stuff that's been done in our neighborhood. So that's why we're here.
Okay.
I know he spoke with you on the phone while he was
Yeah.
speaking with us.
Yeah.
So, now I don't know if you would prefer Mr. Sturbins to be here because he's well aware of some of our concerns.
It would probably help. I'm not as familiar with it as he is, obviously, and he's the town engineer. But if you want to give us certain concerns and we can pass them along, we can do that.
Okay, well, I wish I would have known that he wasn't going to be here because then I wouldn't have wasted your time or ours, but, you know, I would rather him be here as well because he's very familiar with it. He
Want to
wasn't,
wait till he comes to next meeting and we'll make sure that, you know, he's here for you?
Perhaps, this is just a suggestion, if you prefer to do it in front of the entire council, but perhaps the council wants to set up maybe a meeting, maybe a member of council, or Mr. Sturbins and yourselves at a convenient time for you could meet, and you can go, I mean, you can go over everything here, but that way you don't have to come out to another night meeting.
yeah, that's fine too, but the only reason why I wanted to be here was because I wanted to be on the record.
Okay.
I don't want, you know, it to be just us, because we need to protect ourselves too. You know, we don't live in a big McMansion or anything like that, but we still need to protect what's ours, you know, and that's a concern because of past dealings that have gone on with the newer homes that were built off of our street, and it's a very big concern. So, you know, prior, you know, to those houses being built where we live, when we voiced our concerns, they went upon deaf ears, and basically we were told we didn't know what we were talking about, and I'm not going to have that again. So, you know, that's, you know, and you're going to be on my property doing,
Right.
and you want a piece of my property, and that needs to be discussed. And so, you know,
I agree, yeah.
whatever you think is best for us at the moment, but I would prefer Mr. Sturbins to be here.
Okay.
Maybe we could do it if we, at the next meeting, and we could put them at the top of the agenda,
Yes.
so they don't have to sit through a lot.
And what date would that be?
It's May 6th. May
May
6th.
6th?
Just so you're aware, after your discussion with Mr. Sturbins, in addition to calling the mayor, it was Friday, March 20th, he sent an email to all of council and myself
Yes.
detailing your entire conversation. So,
Okay,
just so you know, so that is a part of the record now, that's a public
Okay.
record, so, just so
Okay.
you know.
all right. So we're going to wait for Mr. Sturbins to be a part of this, or?
Yes.
If that's-
That's
Yeah, if you have anything you'd like to say now, you're more than welcome to.
Do you have an idea of when you want to start this project?
As soon as possible. That's why I sent you the second letter.
Mhm.
They're very concerned about what needs to be fixed.
And I understand that. I'll tell you what my concerns are. We can address it at this May 6th meeting when Mr. Sturbins is here. I don't have the markings on my property for the part of the property that you want for the easement. I would prefer to see it rather than on the,
On the map. Yeah,
You
you're
have no
right.
idea what they're taking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they're gonna be.
I mean, it says how much of that property,
Right.
but I don't know what that
No.
is. I would rather physically see it. The compensation, that definitely needs to be discussed. There's a shed on our property, and that's why I want to see the markings, because I don't
Okay.
know how close you're coming to that.
Right.
We have a pool.
Mhm.
I'm concerned about how close you're going to be to the pool as well. You know, we've had our wires ripped off from the house and the side of our house with work being done. I'm concerned about that because stuff is low.
Okay.
And how long do you think that project will last? Because the nice weather's coming, and I like to enjoy my pool in peace and quiet as much as we can.
Right.
So I'm just curious on how long you think that project would last.
Paul can speak to that.
Yeah.
But perhaps maybe between now and May 6th, with your permission, maybe Paul can make an appointment to come out and at least walk the ground with you and show you what that, I know when you look at a survey, it's
Right.
what does this mean to me?
Yeah.
He could show you what that means, even if it's in general terms. It means from right here to over there.
That would
That
be
way you
great.
have some idea, so when you come back, you know exactly.
Yeah, that's what
sure
I'm looking
you-
for, a visual. I mean, I have looked at on the survey, and I'm looking up at the property, and I'm
Right.
like, we don't even have any markers there for me to go by, so I'm not even sure what I'm looking at. So that would be fine. He can,
Okay.
he can give us a call. He's home during the day a lot. I work, all day. I don't know if he wants to come out on a weekend or whatever, but we'll work with him for that purpose.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So May
Thank
6th?
you. May 6th, yeah. We'll
Okay.
have Paul out before that.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Good night.
Okay. All right, the second item under new business, discussion regarding refunding of the bond ordinance. John Drakewitz of Gibbons PC and Dave Evans of Nissavosia are here to make
It's
that.
just John tonight.
Oh.
Yeah.
One didn't make it, okay. We'll see more.
You can come up, John.
First of all, I want to say I appreciate the governing body to invite me to come to the meeting so we can briefly give a little bit of information for the governing body to consider and to take action at some future meeting if the governing body decides to move forward with this topic. Very briefly, because I know you have a busy agenda. Back in 2007, the township issued $7.8 million of general obligation bonds that were issued to the public that you're repaying over the course of 20 years, the last payment being in 2027. An underwriter, RBC Capital Markets, reviewed your numbers and presented them to your auditor maybe a month or so ago. And David Evans, your auditor, forwarded that information to me, and I have that in front of me here just to briefly discuss it with you. What the numbers show is that if you undertook this refinancing opportunity, under present economic conditions, which could obviously change from month to month, it would produce a gross savings of $208,000 with present value savings of $183,000 over the next 12 years from 2015 to 2017. The average savings per year would vary between $12,000 and $17,000 per year annually to get to the gross total of $208,000. Those savings are net of an estimate of cost of issuance, which she put together based upon just the underwriter's conservative viewpoint of undertaking the transaction. He made the cost of issuance, I think, in my opinion, higher than it needs to be, but he did that in order to show that the savings will still reach a certain level of satisfaction to the township. The New Jersey Local Finance Board requires that at least 3% present value savings is achieved in order to undertake the transaction. And based upon the numbers, again, at this point in time, the present value savings is at 4%.
4%, okay.
It's present value savings. The entire process, once the governing body elects to move forward, it takes approximately 3 months to do. And it can be undertaken at any point in time, whether the governing body elects to do a transaction this year, next year, or year after that, depending upon the economics of the time. There is savings available. Based upon my experience, bonds issued in 2007 are typically now being refunded by various municipalities because it's in the window where these transactions make more economic sense. So, quite frankly, that's just a general overview of the refunding possibility. And in terms of costs in general, there's a number of costs that really aren't the professional costs that you have here, like the auditor or the bond counsel. There's other outside costs, like a which I can detail further with the CFO and the
Yeah.
governing body. A bond rating service, either Moody's or S&P, would have to rate your bonds. An official statement needs to be prepared. Just some other outside costs, but again, they would all be netted against the numbers to show what the savings would be well in advance of anyone undertaking any work on behalf of the township.
Now, I thought the existing serial bonds couldn't be rebonded until 10 years had passed, and only 7 years have passed in LA.
Yeah, that's correct, Mayor. The way, it's a little bit of nuance in my realm of limited life here in bond work, that the bonds do generally have what's called 10-year call protection. So the bonds can't be refunded until 10 years after they were issued, which was 2007. So those old bonds can't be refunded until 2017. So those bondholders who have bonds from 17 and 16 and prior are protected. They can't be refunded. Anyone after that could be. However, that being stated, you are able to do transactions in advance of the refunding date to refund those bonds that are callable 2017 and after. So you could actually do a transaction today and capture those savings from those bonds from 17 to 27 and have those savings level throughout the term between now and then.
But what about the bonds that mature 15, 16, and 17?
Those bonds would still have to be paid by the township. So
they're not part of this analysis.
That is correct.
The principal repayment isn't.
That is correct. You would actually have two sets of bonds.
It's a very large principal repayment. Well, for us.
Yeah, yes, you have principal payments of 345 and 15, 360 and 16, and 375 and 17 still. So in essence, you'd have two separate bond issues outstanding. You'd have the 2007 up through 2016 or 17. Then you'll have the 2015 bond issue from there till 2027. But each year, you'd be able to work the maturity schedule around so that you would have savings each and every year. You wouldn't have just savings where 1 year you have to pay more than you're paying today. To do that, you also do no longer need to go to local finance board, provided that you have level savings, which would be probably the proper way to go here. So yes, Mayor, you're absolutely correct. It's a little oddity saying that your bonds can't be called for 2017, but you still can do the transaction today.
And we would have two sets of bonds.
Correct.
A new set of serial bonds, is that how you plan to recast them as serial bonds?
Most likely, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other bonds would just remain three pieces of an old serial bond issuance.
Exactly correct. So you have to give your chief financial officer schedules for both bonds so she knows exactly how much to be paid.
Okay, how much?
And you're looking to, your estimate is we can get 2.2%. That's just your estimate.
That 2.2, we've 3.96 or 4% savings.
Savings, but I'm talking about the yield on that we have, or the interest.
Oh yeah, the new bonds. The rates, as many of you may know, are relatively near historic lows.
Right.
So the interest rate is probably it's the underwriter's estimate, but that sounds like a fair estimate.
Is it? Because of the term. I mean, we just refinanced some BANs for 0.69. Yeah, 0.69.
Correct. Since you're going out 12 years, which is not too long, but your old bonds been 20. These will only be 12. So the yield curve shows that it's a lower interest rates over the first 10 years. So that's what creates the savings, because the yields are very low from years 1 through 10 in particular, but even 1 through 12, they're quite low. For example, the bonds in the first years would probably 0.3%, 0.7%, 1%. By the time you blend them all together, it'd probably be 2.2.
That's the blended rate.
That's the blended rate. That's correct. Yep. Correct.
All right. You will follow up on things that you need to follow up with our chief financial officer?
Yeah. Just briefly describe the process. Would be there's a refunding bond ordinance that would need to be prepared.
Yes.
And again, as we've heard today, there would be public comment on that. There would be a first reading and a second reading. So it would take, basically 2 months to become effective with the publication included within that. And during that time frame, you would maybe at your next meeting or whatever meeting you think is appropriate, select an underwriter. The RBC is the one who presented the numbers, and STIC will utilize that underwriter, but you're not required to. So I will talk with the CFO let her know what you can do if you so desire. You know, it can be a competitive process, so you just go with these folks, and we'll have more information on that for you at the next meeting, just so you can make a decision as to what you want to do, and obviously it'll be in advance of that meeting. So, you know, some information presented to whatever finance committee that might be on board, so you can consider your choices.
Right. We'd have a finance committee and we have a
Yeah, but yeah, you know, it's a little odd process. And, you know, debt is a big word nowadays, in particular for municipalities. So, to the extent anyone would like to meet ahead of time, talk about it a little more detail, I'd be more than happy to do so. And I think, as I mentioned to your CFO, we really don't charge by the hour. So being here today is not something that you need to be concerned about or have a finance committee. It's really built into our cost estimate already. So feel free to speak to me however you want to do so. That would work out well.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you again. Thank you again for the opportunity for the township. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item up is Lopatcong's facility use policy. Now, I understand this is, it's requested that this be tabled at this moment because there has to be a couple of more things done.
Yeah, we just have to approve what, the insurance?
The insurance has to be,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Right.
All right, then, we'll take a motion to approve the liability insurance component of the facility use policy.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Del Caro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor Mikic.
Yes. Item 4, Lopatcong pool quote from R.S. Hahn and Sons to fabricate and install 16-gauge stainless steel ductwork for the hood and the snack bar at $2,950, and Fieldhouse concession stand patch a hole in the ductwork at $80. We got away good on the second one. Yeah, this is a new safety thing, right?
Yeah, it won't pass inspection without having it.
Okay.
I just have a question. Do we have any other quotes? Is this the only one?
Well, I think Brian's is.
What we did was last year to get through, just it gave us a grace period. I had a company come in and build me a little piece, all right, just to be able to get through, and it cost me so much. It cost us so much money. I don't remember the amount, but this price is actually far and beyond better than what he's going to charge you. This gentleman, I don't remember the guy's name, did the electrical work. R.H.A. Hahn is the guy around here that does all the ductwork. People order from him. All right, it's where most of the ductwork comes from. This ductwork has to be welded. It can't be just regular tin ductwork like you see in your house. It has to be, the edges have to be closed. Everything's got to be done for grease traps, for contamination. So it's a little different world. And the reason why it's being changed is it will not pass inspection this year.
Okay.
All right, so to answer your question, the answer is I did the legwork last year.
Okay.
All right, and that's just a rollover. This is a rollover. And we checked in there, there's still agreement and everything's, you know, price-wise is still the same.
Okay. Do you have the, did you quote anybody last year when you did the legwork? Did you get any other quotes?
He gave me a quote just for that little piece. I don't remember what it was, Don. I didn't come.
I mean, like for what he's doing now, this
for this,
charge.
I don't know where else we can go.
Okay.
That'll do that, is what I'm saying. The gentleman that came in, he does piecework. Okay.
Okay.
And changes it. And do you have any idea what he charges? It was like $500-600 for a piece this big. You know what I mean? It was outrageous. And the reason why is everybody's buying, not everybody, I can't say everybody, but a lot of people are buying from R.S. Hahn. All right. And we're going directly to the people that build it for us.
Okay.
All right,
So no middleman.
So basically, it's a finite kind of.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other
it's not-
places that they're further away, different things.
Okay.
All right. So that's why that's ending up that way. And then what we did was there's a hole that has to be welded in the one up at the field house.
Okay.
All right, and we have to close that in just to be able to pass our inspections and open up in the spring.
And when is the inspections slated for?
When is this?
Yeah,
starting?
when do you?
Usually, before sportsmen open and
Okay.
different things.
Mhm.
There's different stages. All right, but before it can be used, the health department has to come in, make sure everything's clean,
Mhm.
make sure everything's up to spec. They check the ductwork, they check the backup to see the grease fits, they
Right.
check everything.
Okay.
All right, and, the one at the pool, which is going to open up Memorial Day,
Mhm.
is not passing at all.
Okay.
All right, so
How large is this hood?
I'm going to say,
Pretty
what,
big.
5, 6 feet?
Mhm.
All right, but
Yeah.
the hood isn't just a hood, it's what's,
Yeah.
it's going all the way up through and up to
Up to the
up to the
roof,
roof
right.
and everything else. It's all going.
Is it also going to have fire suppressor?
That has to be
Built in?
in by, yeah, that's part of it's already there.
It's
We're
already-
just gonna take it out, put back
We
in.
Okay.
updated that
It
last
was,
year.
they allowed us, that's how we found out last year, correct? Our
So-
fire inspector allowed us that grace period,
Right,
all right? But, we had to do the fire suppression system,
right,
all right? He wouldn't let us have that grace period even, so,
right. So it'll
that's
be,
brand new last year.
so it'll be
We're just-
reused?
Yes, that's gonna be
Right.
reused. We're just gonna basically it has to be by a certified company, so we're gonna have them come in, take that out, replace that hood.
Okay.
All right, it shouldn't be, a couple $100 or whatever it is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But we're not allowed to touch it. We're not allowed to play
Right.
with it. It has to be certified.
Right,
and
it has to be
everything else.
tested and then,
Yeah, they have to come and test it with the
Okay.
license. All right, especially for pool, so.
Okay. Before you leave, did you have anything to do with the next quote?
I did. I was gonna
Okay,
ask you,
so,
but I need
do we need to vote on this, or can I just ask him now if he has any,
We should
quotes
vote on
that?
this so we can close out the
Or do you
item.
mind, hanging out there for a minute, Brian? Thank you.
Okay. I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion,
Second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro,
yes.
Councilwoman McKay,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
yes.
Council President Chesler,
Yes.
Mayor Mikel.
Yes. All right, the next item also concerns the pool. It's a quote from Coronado's Pool Plaster to fix cracks in the deep end of the pool and plumbing work in the filter house at a cost of $8,800. Right, Brian?
Yeah. Any other estimates for that one?
We did it. This is also a rollover from last year. They just honored their quotes.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
different things. What I'm going to start out with is the cracks, and you're welcome to come see them if you like once the pool drains out. You don't see them when you swim. The reason why is the rebar is actually starting to rot inside the pool. All right, and we need to stop that. All right, when there's water in the pool, the pressure pushes it out. When it's not, the pressure comes back in. You see the brown down the walls. All right, so there's a special style you have to do with different things. The other company came in last year was so outrageous. It was unbelievable. And I think it was almost double the price of what we were looking at to do just a certain cracks and different things. And we actually walked away from them. Said, there's no possible way. I searched and found these guys. They were very good. They came in. We used them last year. They came in and did it for very little.
If you, I don't mean to be
No, go ahead.
a scooch or a
I'm
pain.
okay with it.
But in the future, when we put these things on to vote, if we can all have copies of the quotes, so at least we can see them, and see where you got them from and how much they were charging. So at least we have, we can, and for the residents, we have a copy here that we can say we did 2 or 3 quotes and this is the best price.
Okay.
Instead of just, I
No, it's all good.
not
Just
take
for
your word
records,
for it,
I did
Brian.
that.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
just for us.
It's not here at this point, but it was done, and it was done, a week ago, somewhere around there. So that has taken place. I don't know but I was asked today to come up and discuss why we are where we are.
Right.
And
Yeah.
things. So it wasn't my job to bring you quotes. It was
Okay.
a certain person
Okay,
else.
then, when you do get them, I guess if we could not.
Yeah, I gave it to the Beth oversees.
Okay,
the pool.
just so we
I just-
have them all and we can all see what work was done on getting quotes and such.
Okay,
So,
that's fine.
thanks, thank you.
Brian, with these cracks at the bottom of the pool, are we losing water?
When we were last year, we were losing, on average, 3 inches a day. We estimated, actually 4 inches a day. We estimated 2 of them might be from splashing this and that and the other thing. And the other 2 was just pure loss of water, that we kept filling every day, 2 inches of water. All right. I believe it's 430,000 gallons that go in that pool. All right. You start losing inches of water every day. You spend a lot of money to fill it again.
Yeah.
All right. So that's why we did it last year on that aspect. Financially, we waited to do the cracks, the littler ones, this year. financially, and that's really what we're going back to do. But if we don't do it, I'm not going to say your pool's going to fall apart, but it's not the best thing for it. The brown is your rebar. It's rotting. You know, the chlorine's eating the rebar.
It needs to be maintained.
It needs to be maintained. It needs to be taken care of. You know what I mean? And there the right equipment and right stuff that needs to be put into place. I've asked them for that, just so you're aware. I said, can I do it? Can I go in and put that stuff? They will not give me what it is. They won't tell me what it is. It's a certain material, and that's their
Secret.
Their secret, all right, that they hold on to very dearly. All right, so,
Find out the secret.
yeah, it's their business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in that aspect, that's been done. A little bit of that is, I don't know if you know, down at the bottom where pump house is. All right, there's a drain down there that goes down in the ground. That's how you drain your pool. That valve is going. It's bad. It's not holding anymore. We have a cap on there that holds the pool there, holds the water in the pool at this point. Okay, not acceptable.
The little Dutch boy.
Yeah. So it needs to be replaced, and what we're doing is, because of confined space and different things, I have them bringing that valve out on the top, so nobody has to go down in there ever again. All right, and we're putting it in with the right valve that's made for the pool instead of a brass one that will over time eat itself away. You know what I mean? We're putting the ones that are made and designed for that. And then the other thing, to be able to pass the pool, because of how old it is, it's grandfathered on certain things. The vortex on the bottom of the pool, all right, has to be changed so many years. After, I think it's 5, and we're on that limit. And it has to be done by somebody that's certified to do that. And that is an insurance purpose, all right, that you don't even want to be in the middle of. All right, if he ever gets hurt on that. The only way the pool was grandfathered in through that is the valves have to have locks on them. All right, and I went through and made sure that every one of those have a way to lock an actual pin in there to be able to lock them. All right, so you got to have two sources of pool on the pumps. All right, not just one, so if a kid gets sucked on, he doesn't stay there and drown.
Oh, okay, there is an emergency shut, right?
Yeah, there needs to be a relief somewhere so the kid can pull himself away from the vortex. All right, so that's what we're looking for.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
So we need to vote on that too?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to vote on $8,800, which is 2 pieces of this thing I have in front of me, right?
Right, the vortex covers, the costs are not included in those 2 prices.
Right, that's an
They won't
additional
be
thing
very
for the
much
future.
They won't be very much money?
No.
Okay. All right.
What do
need
we
a motion?
mean by not very much? Like $1,000, $500?
We'll offer you costs.
Okay.
When we get it.
Okay.
Okay, motion to approve the Coronado Pool plaster.
Motion.
Second. Okay, no more?
I
Any more?
have some, I just have a quick, I would hope that in past meetings, we have discussed whether the pool makes money or doesn't make money, and I'm not going to get into that. Some folks say it does make money and it gets reinvested into the township. I would hope that the money that that we made, or if we made any money, would have gone to repairing these things. We know that they needed to be fixed. They're so old, and I think that it probably would have been wise to do that instead of letting everything now go and we have all these extra charges. That's all I just wanted to say.
You do maintenance every year.
Well, there was $8,000 from last year.
Yeah.
The season isn't covered to take care of.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, that was.
Right.
And our CFO is going to keep
And our
keep
quotes,
certain that all our proper expenses are booked
our
in the
quotes
right
last year were
places.
too high, so that's why they waited to get better quotes this
It's
year.
the same
She
quote.
staggers maintenance too. She staggers every year. Beth does maintenance. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, item 6, approve contract with QC Laboratories.
Oh, I should call the roll on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
did we call?
No.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Item 6, approve contract with QC Laboratories to test pool water weekly at a cost of $32. That's per week, I assume.
That is.
Is this the same price as last year? Have they gone up?
Yes.
It's the same price? Okay.
Okay, motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. Anyone want to talk any more about this item?
No.
No.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Yes. Resolution authorizing refund of sewer payment for tax year 2015 on Block 139, Lot 66, in the amount of $319.82. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Okay. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor Mikel.
Yes. Resolution authorizing redemption of tax sale certificate 2014-014 on Block 39, Lot 8, in the amount of $423.55. Motion?
Motion.
Second. Okay, discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor Mikel.
Yes. Okay, next one. Item 9, council to authorize planning board planner George Ritter to file. What?
No,
What?
number 9.
Oh, I don't know which version. we're on.
It's the same, number 9. It's
Resolution
1569 is another tax issue.
$15.69?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 1569, authorizing refund of duplicate payment for tax year 2015 on Block 86.05, Lot 3, in the amount of $6,376.51.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor Mikel.
Yeah, yes. Next item, council to authorize the planning board planner George Ritter to file a declaratory judgment action in order to remain compliant with COA obligations. Is that the matter I see set forth in a letter from Anthony Soprasso?
Pizarro.
Yes.
Pizarro, sorry.
Yeah, he spoke about it at the planning board meeting.
Okay, and he says, in my capacity as planning board attorney, I've been asked to write you concerning the township's ongoing efforts to meet its affordable housing obligations. At the March 25th, 2015 planning board meeting, township planner George Ritter summarized the Supreme Court decisions regarding COA. Based upon the information provided, the planning board urges township council to authorize Mr. Ritter to begin updating the housing element and fair share plan. It would also appear prudent for township to file a declaratory judgment action in order to remain compliant with its COA obligations. So that's what we're talking about. Now,
Is this actually, should it actually be for the planner to update fair share plan in preparation for declaratory judgment action?
Well, Gary Van Vliet is here, our chair.
So speak to us.
I believe you'd like to use the time limit set on when you can file with the declaratory action with the Supreme Court, very limited.
Yes.
So if we don't file the declaratory action, we will lose the protection of COA, and the Supreme Court has indicated that it will revert to the round one builder's remedy of coming into the township and forcing on us to take whatever they want to do.
And opening us up to, like, we could be sued as well. Isn't that the case?
Well,
But they could come in, yeah.
The case with the builder's remedy was they would come in and they would just isolate a piece of property. They would go to the court would order the township to rezone that property to whatever he wants.
Okay.
And the maximum densities and everything that we would have in our ordinance would automatically be voided and they could basically
Whatever they want.
What's the deadline for that, Gary?
I believe it was
Is it 90 days or something?
April 25th to make the declaratory judgment action. And that would just preserve our right to have the coverage. Without that, we lose all the protection. So, I mean,
I think they may have stated a little bit. They may have June 6th.
Yeah, I think it was, I think 90 days, I thought.
I think they may have stated a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's still a short time.
Yeah,
I was
it's
just
90 days.
clarifying that, so what the planning board is looking for is to authorize the planner to do the work, to update the plan, and then Mr. Spasaro to file the declaratory judgment. Because it would be a legal document.
We don't know how to update it yet. That's the big problem.
Oh.
We We have no rules.
Mhm,
back to
right.
us. We have no idea what
Mhm.
the planning we did since 2004. We don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. I don't know if they're going to make it mandatory, or they're going to come back and go for a complete build-up out of the township. Right now, we're in compliance with the last round of the rules. I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, the guesses are.
And every town is in
way
the
out.
exact same boat.
Everything's
Yes.
different. New Jersey has a lot of towns over 200, close to 253, I think, especially in the shore area, that aren't completely built out. They don't have large tracts of land, and then those townships opted just to stay out of color, but they really had no danger.
Okay, right. Mhm.
Western portion of the state with large farms, tracts like that, they could come in, order what they wanted to do. The builder would make an agreement with the property owner. At that point, they would sue the township through the court system. The courts would basically, well, they mentioned, affordable housing, and they could come in and build pretty much whatever. So over the years, we were trying to protect ourselves, preserve certain areas of the township.
Right.
Scenic areas, we're in with the Highlands area now, which offered either go to the Highlands number, and that would satisfy COLA. That's all out the window now, or go with the COLA obligation. We were sitting somewhere around 167 units, and we had that covered. But now they've come back, and some of those units that were rentals and were age restricted are now out, and they don't give us credit for the COLA obligation. So this is just an intermediate step that we can file the declaration with the Supreme Court. It protects our rights until we see where we're going.
Okay.
Without that, we're kind of walking.
We could be open to somebody coming in and building a very high density. Yeah.
And the trend seems to be much smaller apartments.
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking in the area of maybe 420 square feet per apartment, and stacking them up. There's even a builder in New Jersey now that uses the metal containers you see for shipping containers that puts them together.
Really?
Make apartments out. I don't think we're going to be facing that.
But yeah, you never know.
From there, we can proceed on, see what number you're going to
Right.
how it's going to go. As far as the cost is concerned, I spoke to George after the meeting we had. He believes that we can use the grant money for the Highlands Planning Act in order to cover the cost.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
I'm not sure.
Right, okay.
At least that's a possibility.
I would just recommend that the council authorize planning and legal work.
Okay.
The planner can't file a declaratory judgment,
Right.
only an attorney can file it. So that was what my question was the wording of this was a little mixed up.
Okay.
So yeah, as long as you know the end result is a filing a declaratory judgment, I would just authorize planning.
Authorize the planning and legal work.
Where we were standing, what we were doing, I think, it's council's responsibility. We have to pass the ordinance to do it. So that's what we should do.
Okay.
If you want to come back to the board, or the legislation, we bring it back up to you when it's completed, what we have to do, what the costs are and stuff like that, and then proceed with whatever action.
Some other towns have been doing joint meetings of their planning board and their town council.
Oh, okay.
But most of that is happening in executive session because it is litigation. The
Right.
board has left us with no option but to file a declaration.
Right.
Specifically told towns, you have to file litigation in order to protect yourself. So, it doesn't help the public out that much because most of it happens.
You can decide then whether you could do the filing or the planning board attorney.
A lot of towns, I think,
Better if your council did it, but that's up to you.
I think a lot of towns are kind of taking a joint effort and putting everyone who's the expert in that area.
That's always an idea.
Okay, I'm assuming that we believe that we're in good graces with COA. Is that correct?
We were, one of the elements of being in the Highlands was to complete a affordable housing program. It's one of the 7 steps we had to take to do that. It's the only one remaining that hasn't been approved. It's been submitted, looked very well. We met all our numbers on all of the planning that we did for it. Just at that point when we thought we were going to get it through, COA went awry. Legislature tried to throw it, or I guess the government tried to throw COA
Right,
out.
mhm.
Supreme Court got involved. Rounds 2 and 3 were totally declared unconstitutional. So it left us with, where do we go?
Mhm.
They promulgated no information whatsoever about how they're even going to come up with a number of what affordable housing. So,
Basically, the new decision that
if I
came out.
may, just, so a little bit, the housing stock in Lopatcong more than meets most of the criteria
Okay.
for over 800 units of
Mhm.
affordable housing. However, the kicker is that COA would never recognize those housing units unless there was a 30-year deed restriction on the reselling of that property.
Oh,
And a lot of landlords didn't want to get
Mhm.
involved
Yeah.
tied up in that information.
Can't blame 'em.
Berkeley Gardens,
Mhm.
anything that's rent controlled township would probably qualify if it wasn't for the 30-year deed restriction. We reside in the region 2 of the HUD housing area, and their definition of an affordable house, single-family home, is $256,000. That kind of goes against thinking what affordable housing is.
Mhm.
That's what their definition of affordable single-family.
Oh, okay.
So when we take it from there and start looking
Mhm.
around, it's up in the air on what most people can even agree on what is an
Well, yeah.
affordable house. So
Mayor, to
the
answer-
other thing we try to avoid in the township here is having to create a housing
Mhm. Yes.
division like Phillipsburg.
Okay, yeah. Mhm.
It came down to in round 3, if that any part of that is constitutional, that the township is responsible for building those units.
Oh.
They've kind of moved past what
Good.
individuals.
Mhm.
But that would mean we would be in the housing unit.
Yeah.
We had commercial properties that at one time chipped into the affordable housing program.
Right.
The state tried to take all that money away.
Mhm. Yes.
Unless we had it dedicated.
Yeah. Mhm.
Have that dedicated, it hasn't done.
Mhm.
Originally, we looked at a lot of different options, working with Habitat for Humanity.
Right.
and, even converting the old Delaware Park School.
Mhm.
Proved to be a non-starter with the I don't want to go any further.
Right.
Basically, I think it would be a good idea to keep our protection. It doesn't really-
It doesn't
not
hurt.
doing it would hurt us.
Yeah, by not doing it
Something,
definitely is going to hurt us.
you know,
Mhm.
Okay, where were we?
Mayor, to answer your question about the good graces of COA,
Yes.
the, basically what this new ruling that came out just 2 weeks ago basically said was everyone who was trying to comply with the third round of COA, no one's in the good graces of COA anymore. They've undone the third round, and now they've said every town, in order to be in the good graces of COA, has to file a declaratory judgment to get, I think all but maybe 68 towns have been found, they have subcert. So out of 656 towns or whoever there are in New Jersey,
Mhm.
68 of them
Only
are in the good
68?
graces of COA, and the rest of you are left out in the cold. And you have to actually file litigation in order to.
Right. Just because of this
but-
judgment that they made.
What does it mean to be in the good graces of COA?
They gave them subcert a long time ago, so they're kind of sitting pretty, where everyone else did everything they were supposed to, and we were following the first round, and we were following the second round, and they had this third round that came out, and now they found it up, they've undone the third round. So they're not telling you how to calculate it, but they're telling you have to comply. So everyone basically, as Gary said, is scrambling to figure out, do we follow the second round, and do we use these numbers, do we do that? So everyone has to, and I say it's litigation you're filing, but really it's kind of an application process. It's going to a judge, it's going to be heard, but I would guarantee most of the towns in Warren County and your surrounding counties will be filing these. It's because they've almost made it like the application process, but it is litigation, and so you do need an attorney to do it. You need your planner to do the work, but basically they've kicked everyone out and said it's now you have to come to us and you have to prove why you have this, that, and the other.
So basically, to be in the good graces, you're talking about the amount of the amount
Your
of
plan.
housing.
What you've had
And
so
our-
far and what your plan is for the
Okay.
future and.
So it's just maybe about, it's just the plans.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so that's why I
Yeah.
think part of the work that the planner would be doing is looking at, what was it, 2008's plan? So it was the old housing plan, looking at that plan and seeing, okay, how do we move forward with rules that we're not even told what they are yet, but,
Mhm.
and that's what everyone's in
Okay.
that boat.
Okay.
Now recently I had some discussion with COA. I was updating their records for our new CFO, adding her name so they knew who to deal with. And what they told me is that we're not really in good graces with COA.
I just said everyone's not. in good
Well,
graces
we
with
particularly are not. And what they told me is that by their records, $298,332.09 of COA trust funds were misspent by the township, and they expect to get them back. And I don't know where to go with this. It has to be, we have to find out what happened. And that is certainly what they're telling me. And this happened, I think it was announced to the township in 2013.
Was that the money when they changed the judgment and then you had any money that was left on hand and we haven't yet spent it?
I'll read you what they say. With respect to administrative costs, it says the township remains over the administrative expense cap. The township has collected $1,066,455 and may expend 20% of that on administrative, or $213,291. The township has spent $511,623, or $298,332 more than permitted. The township has expended 48% of what has been collected on administrative costs. The overage must be returned to the trust fund account. No additional administrative costs should be paid from this account. And when I looked at the trust account, it appears that we're not taking money out of the trust account anymore to administer the COA program. They also said that we haven't closed our account in an appropriate manner since December 31st, 2006. And that we haven't done our monitoring for 2014. So this is what they sent to me, and I think we need to find out what happened here.
I think you need to call the auditors. The auditors did a whole report on this, going all the way back to 2006.
The auditors did
Yes.
report on this?
Mhm. Yeah.
But I never recall that coming up in council before.
It was done way back when, before I was on council. And they update their books yearly, I believe.
Is it in like audit reports or anything?
It's not in the audit reports I looked
You would
at.
have to call them to get it.
And this matter goes through the end of 2012, I think, December 2012. But this all came down. So the report you're speaking of would predate this by a considerable period.
I know they update it every year.
Who's that?
The auditor updates the COA every year. If you call them, he can give it to you.
But so that wouldn't show up in any of our financial statements in our audit report?
No, it's a separate document he keeps.
Well, I'm going to ask the CFO to get that from the auditor, please.
So they're basically saying they want the money back?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Well, I think we gotta kind of fight
It's
it
in your own
because I
trust
thought
account.
everything,
They want
yeah.
it, they're saying
We
that
overspent in our trust account.
there's only certain things you can spend. They're saying you can only spend 20% of what's in your trust account can be paid for administrative items. And they're saying some of the items, when they put them all in the category, they're saying more than 20% was spent on administrative items. So they're saying you shouldn't have spent those. It sounds like from what he read.
Yeah.
So it's not you have to pay it back into your own account, your own trust fund account, your COA account.
It's not open, so not open, period. But that is kind of a question I had. Do we have to budget for this?
I would check with the auditor first and see.
Mhm.
I don't know any more than what you just read. So.
Yeah, let's find out from the auditor first.
Yeah, because I believe they talk to the state
Right.
on a yearly
Let's do
basis.
that.
Yeah. Mhm.
But you just got that? You just got that? Or how long have you had that email?
Middle of March.
Middle of March?
Yeah.
So if they talk to them every year, how would they have
I don't know.
not missed that?
I thought we were in compliance. I thought they went through this whole rigmarole. I know that they changed the laws over the years. We had to adapt. You have to talk to the auditor.
What they told me is that the township offered to give COA township-owned real estate.
Yes.
To placate them for this, and that their general counsel wouldn't accept the real estate. And so, people know about it, I guess, I just don't.
When did we offer them that?
I don't have all that information.
Okay.
That's what they told me.
That doesn't sound good.
We'll talk to the auditor first.
Okay. Next item.
But do we have to vote on?
You have to make a motion to approve.
Yeah, gotta get back to that. You brought up COA, so. Yeah, I guess we have to authorize the planning board planner, George Ritter, and the planning board attorney to file the necessary paperwork to remain compliant with COA obligations. And I think we have to advise them too about this issue. The COA saying we owe them $300,000 approximately.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion is that. Second?
Second.
Any more comment?
Are you going to call the auditors, Mayor, or Lorraine, are you going to do it?
No, you should, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Please update all of us. Sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is that okay to do that in an email?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we had our comment, now we go for roll.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
Yes. To approve membership to the Strikers Firehouse #2 for Robert Thorson and Brad Fagan to Delaware Park Engine Company #1. I would move to approve those good gentlemen to join our fire department.
Motion.
Second.
Second, okay. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
Yes. Next item is item 12, a 2015 banking proposal to be submitted by our CFO.
Okay, I gave everyone copies of at least a couple of pages from a new bank that was proposing services for the township. I don't know if anyone had any questions on it. It was pretty straightforward. I did find the original agreement in our files from the prior bank. I believe there was a question of the payroll. They paid our payroll. I don't know how that was worked out, but there was an agreement that the current bank gave us saying that that they would make the payment for our payroll services.
Really? Oh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah,
Isn't that a conflict?
Katrina, is that appropriate?
I don't really know.
To accept a
How much is
non-banking
it?
service or something like that?
That annual.
I think payroll was run through them. So I think what they're saying is they paid the fee because we were doing.
Don't we get the bill?
Right. My understanding is
We
that
can
we
look
would get
into
the
it.
bills from the payroll vendor. In 2014, they were a little over $7,200. And then the bill was copied to the bank and the bank reimbursed the township.
So we get billed and then we send the bill to them and they pay it?
They pay us.
The other way around. Bank used to pay it.
Yeah,
Direct
it's
bill.
a new bank, a successor bank because of a merger. So the original bank we dealt with.
The current bank that we have now, the bill would be paid by the township to the payroll vendor, and the bank then would reimburse the township for that expense.
Previously, though, the original bank just paid it themselves.
I actually didn't go back that far in the records.
I would like
I just looked
council
at the past
to
couple of years.
research that. I don't like that. Doesn't sound right.
Okay.
I did originally ask the current bank that we use for a proposal that would be similar to the services that the new bank had proposed to offer. There were some pretty exciting things, if you can get excited about banking. The residents.
Only an interest.
I have your, yeah. The residents would be able to go into a local branch that is only a couple blocks away from the municipal building. They'd be able to go in and interact with a teller at that bank 7 days a week to pay their property taxes, to pay their sewer bills. They would be able to get a stamped receipt. The bank then would hold all those payments and provide them to us as we pick them up, hopefully every day during a collection peak period, and then we'd be able to post them. So that would save hopefully a lot of payments
And they
coming
can do
into the
a record of
collector.
everything that's collected.
Right, absolutely. It would save a lot of time just in opening mail and writing up deposits and
Lockbox.
things like that. Yeah, it'd be like a lockbox there. The other service that they had that we don't currently have is they have the ability to have what they call an e-lockbox. So when our residents would write a check through their own personal online banking, if they do it now, it would take, say, 5 to 7 days to get to us before it would even show as a payment to us, and then it would take us the day or two to actually process and post the payment. With the e-lockbox that the new bank had proposed, those online payments would be an ACH directly into our account, so we'd receive it that very next day.
Okay.
It would still take us a day or so to post it and get through it, but the money would be in our account and the consumer would get credit for it that day that it's received at the bank.
I just have one question. Do they have to have an account with that bank, or can it be with any bank for the e-lockbox?
No,
No,
the
it can be any
resident
bank.
can make
Okay.
their online banking payment through whoever their bank
Okay.
is, and the new proposing bank would just receive it. They would
Okay.
accept the ACH.
That would save a lot of manual stuff to go through.
Yeah, they did have a lot of information on P cards, procurement cards. Beth had just been to a seminar recently that went into a lot greater detail than I have. So it may be something that we want to look into in the future. It's not something that we have to do right now, but it would open up a lot of possibilities for interacting business where a municipality could have a valid use for a credit card, but we're not allowed to use credit cards. So a P card could take that place. Trying to think what else they had. I did mention as well, they're open 7 days a week. Their drive-through is actually open for half a day on Sundays, so people could interact business 7 days a week.
And they have several branches in the area.
Right. When you go to pay your taxes, though, you'd go to that one local branch, the one that's just a couple of blocks away from our building here. I did contact the current bank to see if they had similar services, and they were unresponsive. I did just get an email yesterday asking me to call them and review the services with them. So I don't know if they have that capability. It didn't sound like it. It was quite a long delay from my initial request to their response. So I don't know if council wants to wait to see if they can offer those services as well. I did inquire in the branch just verbally, and it didn't seem like that was a possibility for them to be able to provide that.
Can't say so much more.
Yes, bigger bank.
Sounds very unusual.
They're a clearinghouse too, aren't they?
Yeah. So if council would like to make the jump and switch banks, our tax collector would be really happy, because that would hopefully take a lot off of her plate, and we could begin the slow migration to the new bank. They also have a wonderful escrow service as well, so all of our escrow accounts would be in one location as opposed staggered from two different banks for seemingly
Yes, a good modernization.
unknown reason.
Yeah, I know it'll definitely help the tax collector, and if you do decide to do that, we'll hold off on any of the online payment vendors we were going to go with, and see what exactly we end up with at the end of the day, and see if we even need to do that, because we might not have
They
to.
do have a rapid scanner too to make deposits here.
Oh, okay.
I understand from our tax collector that the current scanner that she has now is just too slow to keep up with the peak collection period. So I did offer to scan for her every 4 days a week, and hopefully that'll take less time out of the office to transact business as well.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
So it's your recommendation that we make this switch?
Yes, please.
Based
After
on
that
the
long one.
CFO's recommendation, I ask for a resolution.
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion, folks? No? Okay, let's have a roll call, please.
Sure. Councilman Vaccaro?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kate?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Chester?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for all that work.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Okay. Approve up to 3 members for the Shade Corps training at a fee of $50 per member. They're required to take training.
Motion.
Motion, do I have a second?
A second.
Discussion?
This is really good because they don't have to stay overnight. It's not for, usually they have to go to Atlantic City, and then, we could ask them to come back, but it's only $50. It's not that far from here, and it's within this month. So I know Lee is going, Lisa, and That's it. Okay, so we'll only probably need two, but it's a great thing. And once you're core trained, and that's a really good
Now, you
help.
have new members. Do you want them to go as well while we're doing this?
Christy couldn't go, right?
Yes, Christy can't go.
Martin?
We approved up to 3, so if he wants
Oh,
to
we
go.
got, all right, so we're good, all right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Once these people are core trained, as long as they're your
They
people,
never have to do it again.
they don't have to take it again. They're
Again.
core trained forever. They go on the list.
Mhm.
Just keep it the state.
Okay. So,
Motion?
We made a motion.
Yeah,
Second.
second.
Yeah, we need a roll call.
okay, any further discussion? Okay, no further discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
President Chesney.
Yes.
Okay, now we move out of the new business and we go to council reports. Let's see. Maureen, do you have a council report?
Yes,
for us?
I do. We had an EDAC meeting this month, and we got together with the group. Our goal is, and we've been saying this, but we're going to get to doing a brochure hopefully this year that will sell the town of Lopatcong to potential future business people, businesses, small businesses, and also to potential future residents. We want to try to give this brochure to like the realtor offices and let them, sell the township. Like, come live in our town. We have great schools, great parks, and all the good things that we do have. And as far as new businesses, you may be aware we're getting coordinated help over on Red School Lane. They contacted me. They do want to get involved in the township. They want to get involved in our community day. So we have an early sponsor.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's a good thing. And, the very positive feedback, they really want to get involved with us. And it's going to be a win-win for both sides. They did state they think completion date is going to be end of this year or first quarter next year for that building, for that facility over there. Secondly, LAA. We had a meeting in LAA this month, and we have to talk about, they voted in some new
Yes.
directors for cheering, basketball, and baseball. So we have to do that.
So as we're transitioning from liaisons here, the LAA has changed their bylaws. They make the decision and they vote on their directors, and we just approve it. So for baseball, they approved John Remian. For cheering, Patty Segata. And for basketball, Jeff Heasel. So I just make a motion that we will ratify their appointments.
Second.
Second.
Did you take a vote on that?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
All right,
Should
so
we
we have a second. Any further discussion?
wait for Lou?
Keep out. Leave the room.
Okay,
you know,
we can
folks.
come back. I mean, if you have any other reports.
Yeah, let me
come back to
continue.
the
We'll
vote?
come back.
Okay.
Okay, lastly, insurance. Beth and I met with our risk manager this week, and he and Beth are busily updating our policies to make sure that all our buildings are included, which buildings, the dollar amounts, the contents, to make sure it look like things like that haven't been updated in a while. So Beth is actually doing a lot of follow-up work on that. We have to touch base with the fire department. We have to look at some things up the park, make sure all the buildings up there are included, including like sheds and things that are now storing equipment and things like that. So that's an ongoing process. And also I had a question on insurance about our truck. Mr. Mayor, do we get any feedback from the Aqua on their claim our claim to get them to pay?
I will cover that, I guess, when I get to my
Okay.
reports here.
Okay, good. That's our insurance stuff. Whoa, glad to have you back. We need to take a vote. Just on LAA's appointing, they appointed their directors.
Yeah.
Cheering, basketball, baseball should be the
I'll repeat it. Baseball was John Remian. Cheering was Patty Segata. Basketball was Jeff Heasel.
So we just have to ratify their appointments. That's really it. So we already did a motion in a second, so we need to take a vote.
All right, roll call.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Vice President Chesney.
Yes.
Yes. All right,
Yes.
Laura, do you have reports?
Yes, you're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks.
A lot of my committees haven't met since our last meeting 2 weeks ago, but I did go to a Phillipsburg Chamber of Commerce meeting last night. There was a lot of business people there as well as elected officials. The Buds were there. Yes, so they came up to me and talked to me. Mayor Wyatt was there, and I think, as you may have heard in the paper, Ingersoll Rand is starting to move again. They did say that Lopatcong is going to get a piece of that. They are looking to purchase our property, which would be great, be nice tax rateable for us. Phillipsburg is trying to move as fast as possible as they can. And again, whatever they build in Lopat is great too. What they build in the neighboring towns is this was a theme throughout the night, is that, what happens in Pohat helps Greenwich and Lopat and Phillipsburg and vice, all around there. We all have to work together because we are very close. And, it's just even, they're thinking 800 to 1,000 jobs. So those are people who are going to come here, they're going to have lunch here, they may have dinner here, they're going to shop here, and hopefully that can spur a lot of things, not just for Phillipsburg, but also for Lopat. The other thing, we went over the LAA stuff. Like I said, I really didn't have much on mine, so I unfortunately have a personal thing to discuss. As you know, or you may or may not know, I chose not to run for re-election this year. I don't know if you know anything about my family or anything, but my youngest is graduating, and I'm probably not going to make it through this without crying. She's graduating in June. I looked at my calendar, and every single weekend I have something during the primary campaign season, from her last competitions to her banquet to college visits that we have to do. And I love this town very much. I think you all know that. From the day one I've come here, and I've given you my best, and I work very hard, and it was a very, very tough decision for me, because Lopatcong to me is like one of my other children. But my two children do come first, and I don't want to shortchange my daughter from what I gave my son at the same period of time, and I need to focus on her right now. Like I said, I am choosing not to run for re-election this year, not because I don't want to do this, because I do. It was a very emotional decision for me that I made on Sunday. And I just wanted to I'm going to do my very best this year. I will still be around. I will definitely come to the meetings. I will definitely, do as much as I can. If I am on any committees, I'll do that too. And I just want to say the people I've met here are amazing. All the volunteers, all the employees and everything. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just choosing not to run this year, just for my family, because in the end, family does have to come first.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Okay, moving right along, I'll do mine because we're just going to mine today. I like to mix it up. I have only a few reports. With respect to the Ingersoll land property, I have been in contact with and met with the people in Phillipsburg. Two of our planning board people went along with me just to get some preliminary stuff as to what they're planning to do on that Ingersoll land property. Our chairman came and our co-chairman. We're not sure exactly, how strong this proposal is yet, but what they're saying they want to do is put 4.5 million square feet of warehouse space on the 250 acres that Phillipsburg, that lie in the city of our town of Phillipsburg. Now, how it might affect Lopatcong is that there's a 100-acre piece of the old property that's in Lopatcong, the old Ingersoll land. It's presently a cornfield. I think they would like to put a road through there and to enter this new complex of warehouses. And so that would affect us. And I think if they do that, they're going to be pitching to us that they might want to put a very large warehouse facility in Lopatcong on the remaining acreage there. We don't have enough information to make any kind of decision, so we're really far from that. But it's not inconsistent with the type of property we probably would like to see come in here. It's not polluting. It's just warehouses. There'll be a rail. A very big selling point of this is the rail connection goes in there. And so it's hard to describe, but it's a new concept warehouse, these fully automated warehouses. It's like mostly for e-commerce, and you'll get, containers coming in from Port Elizabeth, Port Newark, and they'll come by rail into this project and then go into the various warehouses, and this will be a constant flow. There'll be a lot of trucks involved, and as a consequence, we would not be too happy unless they made some really good entranceway into it. Yeah. Maybe something like a flyover, you know, with a real modern type entranceway. I think the people in Phillipsburg are incredibly excited about this. I mean, this means they own a lot of that land. The township took it in lieu of taxes some years ago. And if they can sell that land for some enormous amount of money, they could find themselves much lower in debt than they are now, and then have these ratables that would help their budget for the next 20, 30 years. So it's a game changer, as they describe it, for our community and in the whole. And, we're going to work closely with them and see how much of a game changer it might be for Lopatcong as well. They will be coming again to see us in the near future, the developer this time, just to get to know you kind of meeting. I know that some of the seasoned salts around here say, well, we don't really know if they can do what they say they're going to do, and we don't. But they think they have a very strong bench, and this would be an enormous boom to the local community. So that's one thing. Now, with respect to Aqua, during the sinkhole thing, the progress of the sinkhole, when I was on site there, it was my opinion that this should be the responsibility of the water company because it was a sinkhole. They did a lot of the work and have paid for it already. There are some bills that remain outstanding that we've been gathering. The other day, I gathered those bills up. With the help of the CFO, we prepared a letter to Aqua, and we were asking that they take care of the rest of it. Now, whether or not they'll do it, we don't know. I think it's clear cut. I think the sinkhole was so enormous you could drive a truck into it. So, pretty good chance that that. Well,
I think that's what happened.
yeah. I'll never forget that thing. The morning I went out there, I get a call from the office. I think it was Beth called me. She says, I think you should go out to Wordsworth Lane. They had some kind of problem. I go out there, all I see is a blowout. Oh, boy, yeah. So anyhow, that's going, and it's my opinion that we should enter into discussions with them concerning the replacement of the truck as well. There's no guarantees, but we're going to try. And so those are my reports on those two items.
I had one thing I forgot. Two?
The two from executive.
The two from executive. You want me to do those?
Yeah.
We wanted to make a motion to hire an expert to investigate a resident's claim that was discussed in executive.
Motion?
Yeah, I made a motion.
Second.
I'd like to say something. I guess you can get your second, and then I'll go with comments.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Okay, discussion?
This is the matter that you abstained on and left executive session.
Yes, it is.
You probably shouldn't vote on it either.
I'm not voting on it. I do have comment on it, though. In the past 5 days, I've received 3 agendas. Each agenda had something different in executive session. The first one had 2 items. The second one had 3 items and 1 very descriptive item. The item on the second agenda read, hire independent assessor to review the allegations against the assessor regarding list of veterans and seniors qualified for tax deductions and Councilwoman Schneider's property assessment. This was on the agenda I received. Then I come in and here's another agenda that just says discuss residents' complaints and possible hiring of a special assessor to review. In the second one here, it's talking about the assessor. I noticed the assessor was not present because she was not Bryce noticed.
Her job description was not discussed in any way.
Well, when I asked for her to come in for something else, she told me she couldn't because she wasn't Bryce noticed and it wasn't about her job description tonight.
It was about her job duties, though.
No, it wasn't.
It was about, we can't discuss this.
It wasn't. She was going to explain a situation. It had nothing to do with her job. So I'd like to say a couple of things about this.
I don't know that we can be discussed.
My first thing is, you folks tried with my son, who has a disability, as most of you know. You've tried to say that this township put a ramp on my house and I let them pay for it. That is untrue. A ramp was never put on my house that I didn't pay for. And the township didn't pay for it. Then you tried with my yard to say that in my cabana, I was hiding a bathroom and wasn't complaining and wasn't saying anything about it to the township, hiding it from the township so I didn't have to claim it on my taxes. That's not true either. Now, you're trying to say I'm deceiving the township, and the assessor is the accomplice to my deception. I have to say, I will not stand up here, sit up here, and come into this building and be bullied by you guys and your supporters. I am not going anywhere. I'm here. Enough is enough of bringing my family into this room every time I come in here. And I don't bring your families into this. I don't expect you to bring my family into this. And by the way, my house was reassessed, and I have the reassessment. And guess what? It was by an independent auditor for that very reason, because you were going to say that the assessor gave me a favor that no one else in this township would have received. Guess what? I was not on township council when this addition was put on the side of my house for my son. So there was no favors given to me. And guess what? It's done. It's reassessed. And you are not going to hire somebody to come back into my home and get it reassessed. I am tired of the games. My child, you are putting my child in the middle of this. And guess what? The state paid for that addition because of his disability. It's called the Catastrophic Illness and Child Relief Fund. And when they put the addition up, they strongly urged me to come to our township and ask for a tax relief, because that's what folks do. I didn't ask for a tax relief. I didn't ask for anything for free. I paid for it on my own. So I would really suggest that you stop this game, stop going through my files, stop going through my home, stop trying to do this. You need to stop. This is my home. It has nothing to do with town council, and I am not deceiving anyone on my taxes. And I'd appreciate it if you just knock it off. Thank you.
On that matter, I remind everyone that using the municipality and its wealth and its power to demean somebody or to ruin their life, no, you just don't do that. And it's probably, I'll ask counsel, but I think there's criminal aspects to that. So this is going to stop. You don't go after people. She didn't even ask for any. She never asked the township to reduce her taxes because of the nature of that improvement. She just paid them as they gave them to her. She got all the proper permits. She's done nothing wrong. And there's a very recent reappraisal. I don't know when it was done. Not done.
It was done
Last year, yeah.
Well, Mayor, I think you can tell everyone that when we were in executive session, at no time did anyone on this council make any allegations against Ms. Schneider, that she had anything to do, or did they discuss the assessor's job performance in any way. They were merely discussing an allegation made by a resident and how to resolve it.
In no way, and she just completely.
And Donna wasn't even present.
She left because she was so upset.
She wasn't present when we had the discussion. So
No one said any of this. She just completely
say any of that.
She said she's going to
disparaged
accuse
us.
herself from that, and that's when she came outside.
She went outside. And,
I don't know what she's talking about.
This
Don't know either.
is disgraceful. That anything like this may have happened, I don't know.
I have no idea what she's talking about, that she's being attacked.
None.
I mean, up until this complaint came up. Yeah, I don't know.
But how is this on an agenda?
Yeah.
How did you show up there?
It's an executive session.
Just using the agenda as a tool to make someone more
We're
fair.
not using the agenda as a tool.
We should. Excuse me.
Well, let's wait till we go to
please.
public comment. We'll get all these things done. Okay. That disturbed me so much, I've lost track once again of this.
Oh, very much.
We have a motion and a second. All right, now we're in discussion to do that. It would seem to me that since the house was reassessed in recent months, that is totally unnecessary. I suspect that the good-natured resident who has been hounding her maybe didn't know that had happened. And I think that a copy of that reassessment probably can be obtained, and I think this matter's dead.
That wasn't the only matter.
Yeah, that wasn't the only matter that we were discussing to be looked into. So I still have a motion out there.
I believe, I'll let council talk about the other matter.
We're just voting.
No.
We already spoke about it during executive session. We're not talking about it here.
Voting on hiring someone?
No,
We can't have discussion.
we're not voting on hiring. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. At this point, there's a motion to hire. Yeah, that's where we are.
We have a
Council
motion.
can advise us on what can be said and what can't be said, correct?
You made the motion already.
Right.
Mhm.
We got a first and a second.
The motion is to hire somebody to reassess.
No.
No,
Tell me what
that's not the
we
motion.
said.
To investigate.
No.
To hire someone to investigate the claim.
Excuse me, sir. No, you can't speak now.
Please wait a few minutes. We'll get that checked.
Sir, if you speak up again, we're going to ask the court officer to remove you.
That's not what we said.
It's not to reassess the property.
It's not to
The motion was
reassess
merely
anything.
to investigate the allegation. So we're
That's
not
it.
even saying that it's an
We're not even saying
actual
what the
proper allegation.
No.
It's merely to
Well, how about
investigate.
investigating, just ask me? How about ask the tax
You
assessor?
weren't present in the
It's not
discussion,
about
Donna. It's not what we're
It's about
speaking about.
The seniors and the veterans. Well, I still have I still am very upset that the person that you're talking about is not rice noticed.
We weren't discussing
We're not
her job
discussing
description in
performance.
any way.
What is the actual motion?
The
To hire an
motion
expert.
is,
Hire an expert to just
To
investigate
investigate the
the
allegations.
Some
allegation.
claims.
And
Now, who's going to hire the expert?
we discussed that.
We already discussed.
What we suggested, and
Yes.
everyone was in agreement, is that,
Yes, we do.
yes,
Right. Now, if in fact that there has already been an reassessment done in this house, why are we doing this?
the rest of the council wants to,
that's
To do
not,
what?
we're investigating the
Are we
complaints,
voting?
that's all.
But if she produces this new assessment, then this will be dropped as far as Ms.
Well,
Schneider is
that-
concerned?
and that may be very well be the only thing that this new
Listen,
person looks at, is that, and then that's the end of it, and they give a
Right.
report to council.
We need to clear the air here, that's all. But
Clear the air?
Listen,
Sir, both of you, you cannot speak now. You can wait for public comment. If you speak out again, I'm going to ask Mr. Clancy to have you removed.
okay,
All right.
Mike, want to remove him, please?
Yeah, let's move on.
Let them conduct their business. There's a decorum here. There's a public portion, you can speak at that time.
We're almost there. We're
Not shout
almost
out.
there.
Next person that shouts out is out the door. Got it?
Yes.
Good.
All right, now,
Since Ms. Dagan is here,
Yes.
just for her clarification, the expert that is being recommended is the gentleman that you used when you have a conflict, like, and you said the added and omitted that you recently set, the gentleman that you used, that's who's being recommended, that we just seek his advice to review the investigation and nothing more.
Hey.
You know who the assessor you used for Sycamore Landing? I don't remember the gentleman's name.
Yeah.
That's it. We're gonna have him review so that's who you had recommended.
Review
to
the
town.
complaint, that's all. The complaint is more involved than that, and I take offense at everything that was said, because that's not anything that had,
It's not anything that
No.
was
well, I
discussed.
think, if we get someone to come in and look at this, they should look at the whole picture. They should look at why this came about and who did what to
No,
who. And
we're
let's-
just getting an
let's get clear the air.
assessor to do an assessor's.
And that's what they said, they're
Evaluation.
gonna investigate the allegation, not
Right.
redo the assessment or
Nothing like
relook at all
that.
the veterans and the seniors, merely to review and say, maybe he'll say, oh, we need to look at this, or this was missed, or that was that, or maybe he'll say, there's nothing to this, and that's the end of it.
Right.
But this way, council has a definitive answer. You've answered a resident's allegation,
Mhm.
and you can move on.
Vote.
If anyone out there has allegations, it needs to be addressed. Okay, so, and that's, isn't it a duty of council, to seek after it, to find out what's going on?
Well, you can't not, you can't not.
Korea had an allegation,
Right.
council had
We
the
investigated it, yes.
Right.
Mr. Imhoff had an allegation, council had
That's
the
all.
Yes,
Just
we
investigate the
investigated
allegation.
everything.
I'd like an independent investigator to come in. You want an independent one for our assessor? How about an independent one for our attorneys? I think that should be done. When you're investigating something, you have someone else do it, not someone that's here already. And that's why you hire somebody else. So it's kind of redundant to have our same attorney look at the same thing.
For what?
We're not talking about
We're
an
talking
attorney. We're talking about.
You're gonna have someone independent.
We're talking about Mr.
Donna wasn't
Correa.
present during the discussion.
I'm
that's all.
not
She's
talking
very
about that,
confused.
no. The attorney just brought up that Carlos and someone else had a problem and she investigated it. She's investigating her own work.
No.
You can't
that's the work
do
of the
that.
clerk.
And you have to approve it.
No, I did not
Okay,
approve any of that.
I think we're getting off
It has to
topic.
go by attorney. And you guys you have to look at it first,
Please
correct?
get back to the vote that we need to take.
I'm,
It's off
well,
topic.
it is off topic because it was brought off
It's
topic, but you can't say that Carlos's is the same thing because you're looking at your own work. It should be an independent one, so, you can't say that you're investigating it properly.
Well, you can make a motion for that.
All right, well, I think we're at the point.
We have a
where
motion on the table, don't we?
Yeah, we're doing discussion on that motion, correct?
We just need to, like we do with every single complaint that comes in here, you need to put it to rest because you don't want to be accused of not doing something. That's all you have to do. And nobody said anything. And those things that she said, especially, what did I just say about family? Oh my God, Donna, really?
Really? Lori, who told everybody that I had a cabana in the back of my house?
Everybody knows.
You did. No, you did.
When did I tell them?
You did.
Okay, ladies, can you
And
please
guess
move
what?
on?
All right, well,
I've never asked for a reassessment on my house, and I've never challenged my taxes either.
Neither have I.
Who's challenged their taxes up here on the dais?
Donna, why don't
I
we
have
just
not.
bring in everything? We're on an issue here that you were not present during the discussion.
It doesn't matter. You
Getting
put my
all
name on an
bent out of shape
agenda.
Wrongly.
You put my name on an
Wrongly.
agenda.
all right.
Your name wasn't on the agenda, you just read it to the whole audience.
That's right,
It
because you have
wasn't
3
on
versions of
the
it.
agenda.
Yeah, because we're not gonna.
It's
No one
right
knew about
here.
it till you
It's
read.
right here on the
All right,
agenda.
All right. All right.
Doesn't matter.
We have a motion. Now we're gonna have a vote. Roll call, please.
Councilman Del Caro,
We have to clear the air, yes.
Mhm.
Councilwoman McCabe,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Every complaint that has come here, we have
Abstain.
investigated whether, sorry, it's you, sorry.
She
Council
abstained.
President
Yeah,
Chesky.
like I said, every complaint that comes through here, regardless of who they are, we investigate because we have to, because otherwise you can be accused of anything, so, yes.
And Mayor McKay.
Mayor McKay.
All right, let's
Let's
do
see.
it. Let's see what comes out of this. All right.
Do I have another?
You had something else.
I need the personnel agreement.
Oh, okay, for the personnel grievance, yes. We had a personnel matter that we discussed and a grievance was filed. Based on our investigations and our conversations, I would like to make a motion to have the grievance upheld and the action that was requested to be done. Is that good?
What's that
yes.
mean?
What was it?
What's the action to be requested?
The grievance asked for an action to be taken.
What was that action?
We discussed it in executive
Oh,
session. We can't talk about it now.
Mm-hmm.
The
Okay,
thing you didn't want to do.
fine. I'm very stubborn.
That Irish.
Okay, there's a
Second.
motion, and there's no second.
Did you get it? Yeah.
Second.
I don't know. I don't know where we are. Wait,
I have a motion.
you have a motion. I don't know if we have a second yet.
Read the motion again to me, please.
We have a
To
motion.
uphold the grievance and take the action requested by the person filing the grievance. Which is to rescind.
To rescind.
Yo, to
Yes,
rescind it.
yeah.
I thought you were upholding it. Okay, to rescind it, yes, yes. Second. Second.
Roll call.
I have
Oh, I'm sorry.
a question, comment.
Personnel, I'd be very careful.
I know that. In personnel matter on the agenda, it just says grievance. I'm wondering why it doesn't list what title the grievance is.
Because that would You mean what, the title of the person?
Yes.
You might as well put their name on there. That's not. what you
No,
do.
that's not. You're supposed to put the title of the person that the grievance is, so people know about where the topic was.
What happened was, I'll give you a little background. What happened is we have, what we've been doing for years, and I guess it's been going back, I don't even know how many years, we had the public agenda, and then on our agenda here, we always had the executive session. We never published that or anything.
That's incorrect.
We were asked, out of the blue to post the executive session, and the attorneys agreed that we could do that. We were asked by Councilwoman Schneider to do that. So in order to do that, we had to make sure we didn't have any names on this, because we can't do this.
Nobody said names. I said the title of the person in the, with the personnel matter.
And people wouldn't know who it is.
Right.
Well, that's not the point. You're supposed to put the title. Are you saying to me you're not supposed to put the title on a personnel matter? You're saying,
I will double check.
okay,
with
I'd like
Connor.
to know that, right?
I will-
Because you're supposed to. And also, it's not, you don't check with the attorneys and they say we can. You're supposed to put the executive session on the website with the original
Some
agenda.
towns do, some towns do. Cohat
You're
does it,
supposed
Greenwich
to.
does.
You're supposed
We
to.
got sued over this, didn't we?
No.
No, it's
It's
something else.
and in the spirit of transparency, why wouldn't you want the
Well,
residents
actually-
to know what executive session was going to be talked about?
You don't even have to
Because-
post an agenda for regular meetings.
You should.
No, you don't. No. Only
You have
special
to.
meetings.
Okay, well, I'd like to see the statute on that. So you can get that one too, please.
All right,
Let's move on.
I guess we have to do the vote.
Councilman Belcarro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
No.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
No. Okay, we're still doing, our reports. Lou, have you a report for us tonight?
I have some good news.
Good news.
How about that?
All right.
Baltimore Street's gonna start getting paved next week.
Yay.
All right? They're scheduled to start Monday.
Oh,
Clean up all the debris and rocks that's been kicked up, and we had some complaints hitting the houses as they're, So anyhow, that's a good sign. Also, the emergency generator was started. It was tested on March 23rd. Everything was well with that, for emergency backup. Another good news is by the end of next week, the telephone pole, Verizon is going to be installing it.
okay.
So after that, shortly after that, or hopefully the same day, it's wishful thinking, JCPL will come in and install their transformers and then run power down to our new facility. And then, right shortly after that, it'll be started up. And then we can get off the emergency generator that we've been on for about a month and a half now.
Emergency pump.
Yes. Emergency pump, correct. So this way, because, $3,400 a month, we're a month and a half into this. All right, and, Verizon is really the biggest culprit in this. They've been holding us up.
Okay.
But we got good news today, as a matter of fact,
Great.
that they're going to install it next week. And then they're going to dig right across the ramp, the exit ramp of 22 into Roseberry. It's going to be a one-day project. Get that hooked in, and then, as the old saying goes, stuff is going to stop flowing downhill. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Lou. Ms. Schneider, have you a report?
Yes, I do. We've had some employee turnover, and we no longer have a recycling coordinator, anyone to do our tonnage reports that we need to send into the state, the county, and someone to do our recycling reports for our clean communities and such. I got in contact, thanks to Lorraine. She gave me the recycling coordinator's name in Alpha. His name is Tom Fay. I spoke with him, and he is interested in helping me with the reports, because you need a certified recycling coordinator to do the reports. I can't just do them. He can't just show me how to do them. It has to be someone that's already certified. He also is interested in becoming our, taking over the job of being recycling coordinator for our township, and he will be responsible for those reports. I am meeting with him on April 9th here in the municipal building, and he's going to give me a proposal, and we're going to discuss it, and I just want to let you folks know, and then I can bring it to the next council meeting. If there, I'm sure there'll be some sort of fee, something along those lines to get this going, and so we can have somebody here all the time. So that's that, and hopefully we can get these reports done soon.
How much do we pay the past person?
I don't know what the stipend was, but I can find that out.
Well, we had an employee do it for $2,000.
Okay.
And then we paid a person $100 to serve.
$100 to certify it. Okay.
Okay. I was contacted by a gentleman named Jay Mankaita. He is kind of an odd thing. He goes to schools and he talks about recycling, and he's got a really cute way of going about it. He has made his instruments that he plays, he's a musician, all from recycled materials. And he kind of goes to the schools and he does a little performance. He actually provides the school with his CDs so that teachers can play them in class, and they could learn his little catchy tunes. And he comes and does this whole thing on recycling. We need to do these sort of things to keep our grants, and we do have grant money to pay to allow him to come in and do this to with our schools. He was asking for both schools. I'd like to try him out just for one school and see what the response is, and also to call the school and even see if they would be willing to allow him to do this assembly. For the assembly, if he does one assembly, it's $700. If he does 2 shows back to back, if the school wants half of the kids in the morning and half the kids in the afternoon, it's $1,000. And he looks like he's got some Grammy nominations, and he's been to he's known in some foreign countries, and he's got some Parent Choice Awards. So it sounds like a nice thing, and it's a nice, I think it's going to be a nice assembly for the kids, and it will come out of our grant fund, so when, we wouldn't be paying for it.
Which grant is this?
It's the Clean Communities grant.
That's also the grant that we can use to spend on cleaning up.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. I'd like to, he's trying to get his name out. He's trying to get his name known. I'd like to allow him to do this, at least one school, and see how it works out. I told him I would get an approval from you guys, hopefully, and then call the school and see if they're willing to do it as well. And then I would give him a go-ahead to kind of coordinate it with the school. So I guess I'd like to do it up to $1,000 in case the school wants to do 2 shows if they are agreeable to it. So I'd like to actually make a motion to reserve $1,000 from the Clean Communities grant to have this gentleman come into our schools.
Second. Discussion?
Is that money earmarked for anything else?
No.
No.
Just road
Okay.
cleanups.
Just road cleanups. Oh, so that's what
Yeah.
we give them when they do the
Yeah.
roads.
Do we have to do any type of checks on someone that's coming into?
He's fully insured, and he will provide all of his, anything that the school needs.
Do we do background checks on those kind of things, or that's the school?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he has all his credentials, and he has anything that the schools need. He does tons of schools, so I'm sure he's got everything that he needs to do this. And I'm sure our school will check that as well before they say yes. But he assures me that he's got everything.
Roll call.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that should end the,
Yeah, and I just have, one other quick thing. I just want to touch on this, and I'll be very quick. We've had some debate about this agenda, and that it belongs to council, and we can decide what to put on there, and that the mayor did not have the authority to say anything about the agenda, and that it's everyone's agenda. I have a problem with that only because when I asked for things last year to be put on the agenda, I was told that, no, the mayor has approved the agenda already, and I'll check for you. So the 2 times in the entire year that I asked to put something on the agenda, I was told no twice. I think the rules have changed this year because it's a new mayor, and it's really disheartening to know that that's going on.
Sorry you had that problem. I never had a problem putting anything on the agenda.
Well, it's funny.
You should have just called them. and talk to them about it.
Well, when I got an answer that said the mayor said no.
Well, just call them. Why didn't you call them?
Okay. Well, it shouldn't even have been an issue. It should have said, yes, I will put it on the agenda. That's what it should have been.
That's what it should be this year. When we're all up here, we need to get our.
Right, it changed this
stuff on
year.
the
It
agenda.
changed this year.
Right, but we have to do it in a structured fashion, and that's what they're going
Right,
to work
yeah.
on. All right.
I have one more question, Donna. That committee that you're on for the RFPs, where are you with that? We have some RFPs that are still open?
We have Jeff Jewell, not Jeff, I'm sorry. We have the computer gentleman is from Nizheboshia. He was supposed to get me a better rate, and he's not called me back yet. So I'm going to have to call him and see what he's doing.
Well, he already gave us a rate. You were just asking if he would lower it.
Yeah, better rate.
Yeah,
As I
right.
said, a better
So
rate.
he probably won't.
Well, it would be nice of him to call me to say yes or no, but I'll
But
call
he did
him
already
back.
give his proposal, so he can be looked at, correct?
He did give his proposal, and I already looked at it, and I looked at another proposal, and I was asking him if he can do better. And his answer was, I will check and let you know. He never let me know, so I will call him and get a definitive answer from him.
And what about the other positions that we still have on carryover?
The attorneys?
The attorneys?
Yeah, the attorneys are on carryover because it's, there's no trust there with the attorneys, so I'm not putting forth a name.
Really?
Because there's no trust there.
Really?
Wow.
You just took all the advice tonight and there's no trust there? That's a bit hard.
No, I didn't take all the advice tonight. I asked her to check. I actually challenged a couple of things.
So what are we doing? What are we doing? Because
So we're just holding over. Hey, it's in the contract. It doesn't matter. They have to hold over contractually, so it doesn't matter. We still have representation and the same representation we had for the same amount of money. We're just not hiring them.
So it's the first day of the second quarter and we haven't hired our professionals.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on.
So we're going to have to eventually deal with RFPs, and
There is no RFPs.
they submitted RFPs.
There are
Who did?
from last
The
year.
attorneys.
I did that already, and I said
No,
that
we
in my
have to
report.
actually we have to actually.
We have to address them.
Yeah, we have
I
to.
did address
we-
it.
What do we have to do?
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
We have to actually.
I called them. I told them that we did not accept their offers.
I'll look it up and get back to you
Okay.
Yeah.
on the official
Payment of
procedure.
bills. I have here in front of me the bill list. The grand total on the bill list is $2,766,434.26. Motion to approve the bill list.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please. Oh, discussion?
Yes.
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 Yes. I have one
Yes.
other thing that was on our desk, from the CFO. Are we ever going to hire an assistant?
Yeah, yes, Lorraine and I spoke, and we were, you saw the proposal, right? And I know that we all were asking to take that 8,000 away in the budget.
Right, just because of the timing. By
Yes.
the time we hire somebody.
Right, and so, I'd like to take, I would like to take the 8,000 away, but in the meantime, the remaining amount that we can't take because it's over the percentage that we can take off, I'd like to explore the idea of a part-time person coming in here
Right, that's what.
a little bit here and there,
part-time.
yeah.
And I
So-
think the money that was left over would be able to cover a part-timer.
Yes, it
throughout the
would,
year.
for the rest of the
Mhm.
year, yes.
So are we gonna, are we moving forward with actually
Yeah,
advertising or anything for that?
No, this was just brought to our attention today, so I told Lorraine that the mayor and I would sit down and try and figure out the next steps, and if we need to advertise, it's a part-time job. I don't know if there's advertising that we have to do.
Civil service, yes. Mhm.
It's a civil service position?
We're a civil
Okay.
service town.
Yeah, I know that. I just didn't, wasn't sure if a part-timer coming in every once in a while to help was considered that. So, we'll take the next steps, and, I guess we'll have to wait till the next meeting to approve it.
Well, so you need the help though this month. Should we get going on that advertising?
I do, but how do we approve, and do we need to take a vote? Do we have to bring it to a council meeting
I mean,
before we
if you
hire
just
the
approve that
person?
you're gonna look into hiring a person, yes, you do.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
We have to bring it to council for a vote, right? So we can't vote on the person tonight if
No,
we
no,
don't-
I need to
Whoa,
advertise.
whoa.
for a
Oh,
person,
yeah, we can vote to advertise,
So
sure.
we can get it going.
Yeah,
So we don't have
sure.
to wait another 2 weeks, because I know you're inundated with work.
Sure.
and it's- Yeah.
Yeah, let's vote to advertise.
Mhm.
We actually don't have, I can hire people according to our charter, so,
And not with civil service.
No.
no?
Yeah, that's that little clause in there, civil service.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion then to put an ad out for a part-time financial clerk.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, vote. Roll call.
Councilman Beltrán.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor Dick.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, motion to close the,
What do we have to do? You have
we
to
got-
audience participation?
no, I know, but,
Oh, we have to approve the plan.
right, so I want to do
Yeah.
department reports. That's the last one. Do we have any department reports?
We only have one.
Yes, sir.
Campbell, I'm just going to make a request that we preserve the three copies, the three different copies of the agenda items. And I also want the record clear. There was a little exchange where you had some questions of misstating. That way, it should not be interpreted in any way as any consent,
No.
waiver,
No.
or
No, that was me just
any
trying to,
consideration
because there was a lot of
her
people.
rights with
Agreed.
respect to this hearing.
Agreed.
You were directing some questions, and I just want the record clear on that matter.
Completely
All
agree.
right, do we have an agreement to preserve those documents?
Yes.
Thank you.
You would draft.
Do we need to do a motion on the preservation of those three agenda documents? Probably wouldn't hurt. Motion to, that we preserve the three agenda documents from this meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Okay.
Is that a work
roll call.
product that we should,
Roll call.
Katrina? I just had a
Well,
question.
they're not subject to, they wouldn't normally be subject to Oprah, but you're making a motion to keep them and specifically for that reason.
That's right. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Beltrán.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
No.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Okay, do we have any department reports? CFO has a department report.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll go.
It's your job. It's your job.
Go as
Go
quickly
ahead.
as possible. We had a report of, I gave everyone a copy of the report of note sale. We had a note sale on Monday, and the mayor kind of stole some of my thunder. We had an absolutely phenomenal rate of 0.69%. That's less than 1%, 0.69%. The new note value is a little over $1.8 million, and it's due to mature on April 5th. I did get input from two different council members on proposed changes to the introduced budget. Not all of them would result in an amendment. So
Okay.
I have a detailed copy that I can give you. What I'd really like to do is go over each of the changes and get a consensus so that I can actually go ahead and prepare the amendment for the next meeting, so that we aren't adopting our budget in July. Some of the changes would just be a correction. Some of the things in the data entry of the budget just came out wrong. In the sewer budget, $2,500 was lumped into Social Security, and $2,000 should be Social Security, and $500 should be unemployment.
So you're just moving them from
Right.
line items.
That would not result in an amendment. It would just be the change, the correction. For the current fund, we went through a great painstaking effort to separate out a physical budget for the municipal clerk as opposed to having her lumped in with administration. The auditor either didn't pick that up in data entry or just kind of keyed around it. So the administration other expense miscellaneous line item was 0 in the introduced budget. It should be $16,300. The title should be changed for CAFR number 20-120 from municipal administration to municipal clerk. And Lori, I'll give you a copy of this. So you don't
Okay, great.
write
Oh,
anything
thank
down.
you.
The clerk other expense, which should be CAFR number 20-120-2, would be, it was introduced at $30,150. It should be reduced to $13,850.
Okay.
That was just the moving of the money from administration to clerk. The changes that were proposed, I'll go through them as quickly as possible. The first change was moving $7,560 from the tax collection assistant into the sewer as a portion of his duties do come from the sewer. That would result in an amendment being required in the sewer budget because it's more than 10%
Okay.
of one line item for the salaries and wages in sewer. And for tax collection, it also would because it's a reduction of more than 10% in the tax collection salary and wage line item. Does everyone agree with that change?
Yeah, I think we've gotten the number from the tax collector on how much percentage of time.
All right, so everybody's
Okay.
shaking their head pretty much.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the amendment. That'll be
Okay.
our first.
Okay.
The other change that would affect sewer was to change the amount of sewer utility anticipated in the current fund budget as a revenue to increase it by $10,000. That would not require an amendment in the current fund budget because it's less than 10% of one line item. In the sewer budget, it also would not require an amendment because it's also less than 10%. Is everyone on board with that change?
What is that?
That's taking an additional $10,000 from your
Yes,
sewer
no, I
utility and
understand that.
anticipating.
What is the total that is proposed to be taken now out of the sewer utility?
For that particular line item, it was introduced at $115,000. It would increase to $125,000. In prior years, it was $200,000. So it's still a $75,000 reduction.
Okay.
Good.
All right, so everybody's on board with that one. So we've the third change was removing $8,000 of the finance clerk salary because it has not been appointed yet. That would not result in an amendment needing to be filed for the finance salary and wage line item. The fourth item we already went over, was that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. The fifth item is a reduction in the capital improvement fund by $30,000. The introduced budget had in our current fund an appropriation of $50,000 to our capital improvement fund. That's something that's used for general improvements and it can be used for down payments in larger capital projects. This would reduce it to $20,000 and that would require an amendment because it's way over the 10%.
I would not be in favor of that. We need to build those funds back up.
I would propose that just because I mean, it looks like the capital, my proposal was to go from $330,000 back down to the 250 from last year just to try to keep, I know we need to keep money in our bank and it is keeping some money in our bank, but we need to keep some money in your bank too. That's why I made the proposal.
Yeah. I'd rather build up the
How are we ever going to
residents'
build a surplus?
funds than hit
So
ours.
you're in support of that change?
Yeah.
Of the reduction? And Mayor McKay said no. Tom says no.
I want to build a surplus.
Okay, so that's 3 not in favor, so I will not include that in the amendment. The sixth option was to reduce, again in capital, the road paving by $50,000. In the past, we didn't have a separate appropriation for that. In the introduced budget, we had $150,000. That would be for crack sealing, not necessarily for pothole patching, but for crack sealing, for small reclamation, with no reconstruction, maybe a little bit of overlay. That would be reduced to $100,000.
I would be against that too. Our roads need a tremendous amount of attention.
They're a mess.
And we want to start as a neighborhood by neighborhood program of getting in there and filling the cracks and resurfacing them a little bit. We can't afford big things, but we got to address the roads. And I don't think that's a way to cut right now.
Okay,
It's
just
a
as
small amount to begin with.
As a footnote for that, any money that you would appropriate this year and not spend in 2015, because it's a capital line item, that would sit in reserve. So if you appropriated another 150 next year, or 100 or wherever you
Right.
wanted to appropriate, that money would then be available to build towards a possible reconstruction or offsetting a DOT grant or something like that.
And again, the only reason I suggested that is because it's something new. I mean, typically when we do our road projects, we usually have a grant money that goes along with them. And again, I like the concept of definitely doing that. I'm just trying to lessen the impact on the taxpayers because the last 3 years have been pretty horrendous here with the reevaluation and the 2 tax increases.
So that's 1 yes, 1 no.
Just to go a little further on that, yeah, we do get grants when we do a specific road like Second Street here and things we've gotten grants, but to go out and fill the cracks, and I don't think there's likely to be grant money from DOT on that. So we got to do it, or if we don't do it, then the roads start to crumble, and then we get huge expenses.
so.
And we currently don't have anybody or the time for anyone to look for grants. So we don't have a grant writer.
I mean, 100,000, I think is a good start, and especially with some of the building that's going to be going on in this township. I think next year they're going to be in a better position to put 150 in.
I've got I've got lots of people calling me, telling me they're embarrassed.
I know, but I got lots of people calling me too, asking them to please help them out with their taxes.
Yep.
I know our roads took a beating this year.
So
And,
did our driveways though, too.
right, No, so, it's one or the other. I mean, if you want something fixed, you have to pay for it.
No, and we wouldn't. We'd have $100,000 for it.
People
in there,
understand
that's,
that.
that doesn't
The
get you
the
far.
roads need attention,
And
Yeah.
and it's not going to get any better. I mean, listen, I understand and I
Right.
support, the good ideas up here, but our roads, it's important right now. They really took a beating. So they need to be worked on.
And they
we have
could
to
be with
concentrate on that.
100,000.
Every road in this town has seen some damage.
Yeah, we had a tough one.
100,000 should go a long way, don't you think?
No, not
Not long enough.
Yeah, it depends what you get.
I don't think
But again,
150 will.
I mean, I know I have to, and my friends have to, that we all have to fix our driveways, and you're talking $8,000 to $10,000 for us. So, we're in the same position because we've been putting that off too, and that's why I just suggested definitely putting some money away and doing it, but, and like try to work our way up to something to ease the burden on the taxpayer.
So, what is it, three
Okay,
wanted?
so I'm still at.
So,
Three wanting to keep it the
One
way it
yes,
is?
one
I
no.
wanted to, I was okay reducing it.
Yes.
That was okay.
Okay, so that's.
Keep it the way it
Let's
is.
support the roads.
All right, so 3 yeses and 2 no.
Okay, so that also I will not be including
Okay.
in the. The next one is really, really small. It's for the, I put pool, it's for the pool other expense to reduce it by $1,000. That would not require an amendment. The pool OE is $104,200 as introduced. This would decrease it to $103,200.
You're okay with that, Beth? Okay.
That was a miscellaneous kind of cushion that was not there ever before, as we were going through this budget process and the mess of our process that we had. It was really hard to try and, a new CFO and a new process, it was hard to try and, get the numbers right because we don't have numbers to go off of from the prior year. So Lorraine was putting in some cushions into the different accounts, so it wasn't there last year or any prior years.
Well, wouldn't that money go towards the repairs and things that we have to do at the pool?
No, it wasn't there to begin with.
Are there other cushions?
Yes, we left, when I talked to Beth, there's things that she said that are going to come up with the pool, like the pool cleaner, the liner. Yeah, so there's some things, with the pool, I guess it's, and, right, you can't plan for it, so we left those things in there. We did not change her budget at all.
This was something that I added in because I was afraid that I missed something.
Oh, okay, all right.
And a lot of departments do have it. Some of them it's only $100.
All right.
But this was larger because it's a much larger budget, so.
Okay.
It kind of built
Yeah,
in.
if that's okay with it. I'm okay with it then.
Yeah, I
Okay, so
agree.
that's a consensus of
Yeah.
yes. All right. The last item is number 8, and that was a reduction in the rent leveling other expense. This would require mentioning on the amendment. Specifically, it was for legal. The total OE was $1,250. This would be reduced by $1,000 to $250. It was removing the entire legal portion for the rent leveling board.
The rent leveling board, when they meet, they have to have an attorney present.
There wasn't any in the last year's budget, and there wasn't a line item last year for legal and rent leveling.
I think they just had one.
Yeah, there's gonna be work coming up. We have changes that.
So you can't take so how about the salary and wages that we have there? Would you take it out of there? Well, it's not a salary, it's a stipend, it's not really a salary. So you can't, you can't decrease
Where are
that.
we going to pay the legal bills from if we don't have it here? Are we just going to pay it from the regular
Well, why don't you
legal fund?
decrease the salary by $1,000 and put that into the legal?
Can we decrease salaries?
Yes, it's not a, it's not, yeah.
What do we have salaries for?
No.
It's not a salary, it's kind of it's a stipend, it's not a salary.
It's paid through payroll though, so.
It is paid through
treated as-
payroll.
So legally, it's a salary.
Yeah.
If it's paid through payroll. Because she's taxed on it.
We need to leave it as is.
Where did it come from last year? Where did we get legal money from last year for that?
It's probably paid out of.
Another
regular
fund,
general.
somebody else's
I
fund?
know you're trying to split it
Okay.
up now.
Right. So
And if we don't
boards
use
have
it,
their
you
own.
can transfer it at the end of the year or just leave
To
it
a
to go for the
department that would
surplus?
need it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I would just rather leave it.
What?
That's a
No.
no. to
No,
change.
don't.
Okay. The very last one was in regards to, let me see what I have written here. In regards to the administrator salaries and wage.
Mhm.
It had been suggested to reduce it to 10,000 even. There was a legal opinion that was given about the cancellation of
Okay.
the salary, and it should be complete through the end of March. So
Okay.
it could be canceled from April through the end
Oh,
of the
okay,
year.
all right.
And that would be 11,700. if you wanted to
11,700.
Cancel the exact.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yep. Mhm.
Excuse me, okay, that would not require an amendment.
That doesn't require an amendment, because,
Everybody's on board with that?
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, that was all. I'll have
Thank
the
you.
amendment for the next meeting. And
Thank you.
that then will also have to be advertised. So at our meeting on May 6th, we would have the budget hearing. And then you would have, where are we, April? And then you would have the amendment introduction. And then that would come through at our meeting in June, that you would have the public hearing
Yeah.
on the amendment. And then after the public hearing for the amendment is closed, then the budget can be adopted.
Do we have to do another temporary budget?
I will have to have another temporary
Okay.
budget. I will have a big one
Okay.
for the meeting in May.
Okay, thank you.
I have one other question too, just, since we're not gonna get here till May, I know we reduced the overtime on the police by $50,000. Now, in the interest of public safety, what happens if they go over that? I know we're anticipating that they won't, but what if they do? Like, what are the ramifications of that? Are there none because it's public safety, or?
Depends at what time of year they would
Okay.
get through that. If it's sometime during the summer and the money is completely spent, then we have an emergency.
Okay.
If it's in November, then we would transfer from another department that would hopefully have available funds and cover.
Because I know,
that
something like that, like, we can't not send out the police, and if there are problems, and I just want to make sure that no personnel is going to be penalized for going over their budget.
Well, we just hired 2 more officers,
just
so
hired
that
3.
overtime.
I know, but if you had something
Greatly
like what happened in
decreased.
Ferguson, which God forbid you would, or if you had some major event.
Well,
and they
nobody
have
can
to-
plan for that, you know.
Right.
it's,
I
you
just
know.
want to make sure that no personnel will be penalized should they go over their budget because of the fact
Right.
that it's public safety.
No.
Okay.
That was all I had. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
then
you.
I guess we're finished with department reports.
That's everything.
Yeah, so now we're going to go into, I'll make a motion to go into participation for every.
Motion.
Second?
Did we approve council reports? I mean, did we approve department reports? Did we actually approve them?
Yeah.
We did?
Did we approve?
I don't think we did.
I
No.
approved them before. Approve council and department reports.
Motion.
Second.
All right. All-
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion to go into public session.
Motion.
Public comment session. Motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Floor is open, guys.
Gentleman back there.
This gentleman here has been.
All right, Mayor Kay, council. I'm from Berkeley Gardens Tennis Organization, and my name is John Betts, yes. And I would just like to say thank you for voting yes on the second reading of the public hearing to regulate control, rent stabilized rents, and the rent, and continuing the rent leveling board for a 3-year period. All right, I'd also like to say something quickly about the staggering the term of rent leveling board. I did notice that was in the rent control ordinances, but I do want to say one thing or a few things, is that the 3 individuals on the rent leveling board right now have been very effective in taking care of some situations that have occurred at Berkeley. And it's very important that we have the rent leveling board, and it's our mouthpiece to the town and through its organization to get some major things corrected in our complex, like times when heat goes out, sidewalks, ADA requirements, things of that nature have been spoken about. And then just to make this short, I'd like to just say that we would like to see some kind of a change in control on seniors, the level of control, like a reduced maybe 1% a year increase, and possibly a freeze in the in the security deposit as their salaries level off and then start to glide down due to increasing costs and things with Social Security and their pensions. That some have cost of living increases. Many are getting rid of cost of living increases. And also, well, it won't hit people at a younger rate yet, but in the future with that going on, and also the stabilization of incomes and things. Just as example, a major union, not to be on the union side or off the union side, but has just gone into a tier where they're paying $14 for entry-level employees when they were paying $28. So it's just a trend throughout the country of leveling off of wages. Now, for the middle people in the complex, that their wages may not go up as fast as the 3% in situations in the future. This is for the future, not only for the 3-year period, but after that. But the primary thing that we're interested in is majorly reducing the tenants' hardships in some cases. You see, so that's it. And I do want to thank Mr. Mengucci, Stephanie, and Kathy. And Kathy's been very instrumental in helping us with problems over in Brakely, and has answered many questions. We've referred many people to her and the board. So, all right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Ostrowski.
Say properly. Mr. Mayor, almost made it through today without going nuts, and then at the end, people falling apart. Donna, you're my hero. You're the only person who makes sense up there most of the time. Once more, ashamed of things which are happening in the town, not only for what is happening to you, that you're still up there and do what you do is mind-boggling to me. I would have understood if you would have stepped down many, many times. I assume that would have been what many people wanted. Don't let them get to you, right? You're my hero. That we do need it, or that there is a need for an independent tax collector, I believe is a slap in the face of Kathy, who has the utmost integrity and is valued by many residents here, long-standing citizen of the town, and I cannot see possibly that there should be anybody hired to make sure she is not cheating. That's freaking ridiculous. I have to say. Kathy, also to you, my apologies. I have a couple other things I would like to address. First, on the EDAC Commission, I did a little bit of digging, and maybe council can advise on that. It is currently listed as a mayoral advisory committee. However, as you guys are spending money, taxpayer money, I believe you're violating OMA, and you do have to have public meetings. You do have to have an agenda. Since you're spending our money, it needs to be open. I would like to have that researched. I
Are they
believe.
spending money?
Yes, we just got the cards
The
done.
township spent money on the cards.
Yes.
The township voted on it. The council
So EDAC
voted
didn't
on it.
vote to approve
Oh, they
spending
did.
any money.
Right.
So every decision they have they have to bring here to council.
That was
That's what
not,
advisory, that's what advisory means.
I don't think that
Same
is
thing with
correct.
recreation.
I appreciate if you can look into that. I am a little, I don't know, Tom. We had all these meetings, and you guys had defaming Donna, you had 10 commandments, you had your video surveillance issue. I thought we had these meetings every second week to talk about the budget and to work on the budget. We covered the budget in the last 10 minutes at 10:30 at night. I don't think, as great as a job as you do, Lorraine, I don't think we had budget workshops in the past. I don't think that is appropriate. The COA stuff, and that was something which was surprising. If you would elaborate on what happened, what I believe I heard is that we misspent $250,000 or something of that nature, and they are gone.
Close to 300,000.
I'm here for the last 3 years. I have not heard any discrepancies with COA. I do understand that I personally asked last year if everything is in good standing. I have not heard that the town would offer the state our town land. I understand that Lori
So we did that with the community.
Seem to have known about it. I was unaware.
Community Hope before I was on council. I thought that's what they did. They offered property in the,
They look like, from what I see, this came to light here in the middle of 2000.
I would hope that if we misspent or misappropriated $250,000, and that is money which is supposed to go to the poorest of the poor in the town, and if that money is misspent, I would hope that there is an investigation as to what happened to the funds. That 3 of our council people who are on council for the last 3 years don't know a word about it is scary, at least. I would think that you guys doing your job there.
That you didn't know anything about it?
I don't know anything about it. So, you know what, there'll be investigation.
Did you know about it?
We're going to find out from the auditor.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So before we go down the road, we're alleging.
right, yeah, we're alleging stuff
Well,
here.
you are in the sense, so.
I'm not
Yeah.
alleging it. I'm just saying, I hope there's an investigation.
Well, there will be.
And that you guys don't know anything about it, Lou, I think that's, in my
Look
viewpoint,
into it.
scary, okay.
Right. You have to be looking into it.
And I also believe, Donna, you're right, when it comes to, and there's a lawsuit currently pending in regards to executive sessions. The title should have been part of the description, the agenda. I think our council failed us again. I don't think she's right.
If there are issues with the agenda, I think they should be brought up before the agenda's posted. I mean, just if we could
I got
communicate.
too many of
I
them,
forgot one
and
thing.
this was another one.
Excuse me, I forgot one thing. I also would like to know how Donna's tax situation is an executive session item. I don't see it. I don't know how you're gonna make that an executive session item, investigation of a resident's tax situation.
To hire.
As soon as you hire the person and you work on the person's contract, that is when you go into and you discuss the payment. That is when you go in there, but not to discuss to hire somebody. That is surely not an executive session item. I think you're in violation, and also that will be looked at.
Another lawsuit.
Pete Pacello, 50 Buckley Hill. Mr. Blaccaro, you answered most of my questions. It was about Baltimore Street and the paving. My question is, when is that contract supposed to be completed? Does anybody know?
As soon as the power's turned on and everything is pumping.
I mean, contractually, was there an end date to that, or was there, it's just an open end if we get done with it in 17 or 18, whenever the weather allows, or?
No, where's the end of the project?
I understand, but I'm saying contractually, you know, you hire a roofer, they say by July 7th.
Well, what happened was, weather permitting, I think it was 18 months.
Are you talking about the road, the paving?
The lack thereof.
Yeah, we just got an email today, actually, from our engineer that said, Dulane said that they will be shortly starting the trench restoration paving.
Right.
And they're starting that now, so,
On Monday.
Okay, well, my question is, when the contract was
It was
signed,
180 days.
from when? So when is that 180 days up?
Started from last year. It was up already. But because of the weather, they don't shut down most of the winter. The asphalt
Asphalt plants.
get closed down for the winter.
Okay.
So now it's reopened, so they're gonna start paving.
Right, I understand.
And
I
also
mean-
they had to wait for the permit. Now, I understand.
I work in New York City, and I've dug thousands and thousands of miles of sewer right through Manhattan. I know in the contracts, if you don't get done by a certain time, there's penalties there.
Right.
I don't know what the hundreds of thousands of dollars we paid this company to do this, but in the meantime, the job, if it can't be done, weather permitting, storms, whatever it may be, the public safety is part of that contract to take care of it. I don't know if anybody, I know I do every single day, drive through that Hillcrest, drive across Baltimore, up and down.
Right, it's a mess.
And no, that's not what I'm getting to. It's a mess. Everybody knows it's a mess. It's a safety hazard.
Yeah.
Right now, at this moment, there is a 2.5 foot long, 1.5 foot wide, 1 foot deep hole as you pull out of Dunkin' Donuts, because I'm at a Dunkin' Donuts, so I'm always there, and it will completely engulf your tire. Now, people going through Hillcrest cannot follow what would be designated a line down the middle.
Right.
So now everybody's zigzagging back and forth, weaving in and out, actually dodging each other to dodge the potholes. So I understand the 180 days, it's gone, weather, storms, whatever, but there has to be some kind of penalty to these guys to not keep the public safety in mind in doing that. The machines have sat there and have not moved for at least minimum a month, maybe 2 months, have not even moved. I've been out taking care of my yard work. I've seen our road crews out doing some stuff in our roads. So if our roads can be handled and our stuff can be handled, why aren't these guys being held responsible for taking care of the safety?
I saw a bulldozer today coming down Baltimore Street, and I think he was just scraping anything.
Well, then he missed because there's nothing that's loose, scraped up.
Right, and that's what I saw today. You know, so I was driving by when he was doing that.
So what I'm saying, we spend a lot of money for these guys to do a quality job.
Right.
Right.
Maybe somebody needs to look into the contract and see if there's anything in there that says if it's not done by a certain day, and these are the reasons it's not done.
Yep.
And if there's a safety clause in there that says they'll maintain the roads to keep it safe, because for the last 2 months now, it's not safe at all. If somebody's,
I think you're right. I think can you prepare a report for us next time?
Yeah, we'll look into that.
We want to know, you know, if we can get it back to you.
and if nothing else, if it's questioned to this contractor, Dwayne or whoever this guy is going to get these guys and get them in a machine and get it paved and do it right away, knowing that we're looking to penalize them with some kind of monetary value.
Monday they're starting the paving process.
Hopefully.
No,
It
they
might
are.
flurry.
It's scheduled for Monday.
It might flurry.
Right.
Because apparently every time it flurries or drizzles, they don't
stop.
work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think
Right.
somebody should make a phone call, look into the
Absolutely.
contract that we signed, and that we paid our tax money to have this thing done.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
Good
at least put the fist down on them to say, if you don't do it, we're gonna look for some of our cash back.
And at the very least, come and fix the hazards right away.
Yeah,
If you're not
like
paving, come fix the
tomorrow.
hazards.
Like tomorrow. Because
Right.
if not, somebody's gonna break their ankle. Some kid riding a skateboard is gonna smash his head because of that. So,
Yep.
that's all.
Thanks. Very good.
Are you calling them, Lou?
Yeah, I'll speak with them, man.
Okay.
My name is Steve Mitnick, resident of Lopatcong, and I have 300 linear feet on Baltimore Street, so I'm picking up on where he kind of left off. Can I present these to you guys,
Yeah.
these photos?
Sure.
Physically, can I come up?
Yeah, sure.
That stone is approximately 10 feet into my property from the curb line. My question is the contractor removing all that stone?
Yes.
Again, I'm talking 300 linear feet, 10 feet into the lawn.
Yeah, I see that when I drive down
All right.
Baltimore Street. It's kicked up on the sidewalks.
Yeah, you
Well,
can take it after.
No, on my side of the street, there are no sidewalks.
Well, it's
I
up
have
on your
grass right
property,
up
it's
to
up
the
on your
curb.
curb.
If you look
Your
at those
grass?
photos, you'll see what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
If that grass starts to kick in, they'll never get the stone out of that
That's right.
lawn.
Yeah.
All right, as far as the concern with the potholes, I mean, I'm a contractor also. We put down road plates
Right.
that secure the area. So I don't know why, you know, I'm in agreement with some of the issues. We can
Was it? Well, we'll make a call tomorrow morning.
All right.
All right, and
Thank you.
get someone up there to start sweeping it up.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy task.
No.
No, I know.
And if you look, there's some pieces of equipment or, you know, apparatus left on the property too. There's ruts from, you know, the forklifts when they stored the piping on my property temporarily, which I'm good with as long as they restore it.
Wouldn't they be responsible for that if they had to dig it out and reseed and all that? Wouldn't that, they would be responsible for doing that?
Well, that
Correct.
I think that contractually, that's how it should be.
Right.
I mean, that should be a clause.
Yeah,
Might be.
absolutely.
Well, we'll look into to see if we can hold some monies back. All right?
Well, there should be.
Well, in order that everything is going to be left before they started. And that's going to be clean swept, to be paved, and that's you know, that's a professional way to do it.
Okay, so when I turn my back right now, you're assuring me that that lawn will be cleaned up of stone, 10 feet, 15 feet?
I'm going to make the complaint in, I'm going to put it in.
So there's no guarantee this stone's going to get cleaned up? It's going to be left
No,
to me?
I'm going to complain loud enough that that they will clean up. They're going to have to. Again.
We can withhold their
you know,
payment
if we can.
I can understand a retainage, Sean.
No, we're going to hold some money back until it's satisfactory to the township.
I
Brian?
think Brian wants to weigh in.
I talked to our engineer today. I'm not what they said is they're going to start back with loose at paving. Right? I addressed the issue with stone, same concept, the whole 9 yards, but I'm not happy. I told them I want them to go in at least 30 yards on each road. All right, clean it up, and I expect everything that's just thrown in the yard to be cleaned up. All right, it's not my job, but I told them I'm going to walk through and make sure it's right also, because I get a lot of complaints from residents.
Right.
All right, it's not my thing to oversee, but due to me getting a lot of the complaints, I felt that it needs to be addressed. So yes, Steve, it is being worked on to take care of that. All right, and I'll make sure
As long as it's some assurance, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you can hang on to it. All right.
And as a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll demand and for the company to send some men out here, to start sweeping up right away.
Right.
All right, let's see where that goes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Perhaps we should send a letter to the contractor.
Should we talk to Paul too?
Yeah, Paul.
Paul seems to be able to.
Well, I'll speak to
Yeah.
Dan Manning tomorrow morning.
This way, if they owe us money back for this, we gotta set.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we have to hold some money back, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, get it done.
What it is,
Mhm.
if we can get our guys to do it, then we're gonna bill them for it.
That's right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then we'll take our guys.
Mm-hmm. And we
the normal
pay
dues
in,
and have them
we
do
pay in
it.
installments too, so we could always hold back.
Juniper Lifer, 32 Jade Lane. Boy, this was another long one tonight. Just off that topic, there's also an area on Powderhorn where I guess JCP&L, I think they have like the power lines over there.
Yeah.
They've been driving their trucks and they've destroyed the curb entirely. I don't know if they need to get their trucks in there when the ground is soggy, if they can't put down some rocks or something. It's just, anyway, they fix that up too.
Brian wants to tell you about that.
Oh.
Right, I'm sorry. I addressed that already. I went to see the gentleman in charge. I said, you need to fix the Belgian block, you need to fix all the grass, you need to fix everything. They promised me they have a landscaper comes around after they're done and fixes everything in the field. So again, we'll be on top of that, make sure that happens.
Yeah, but when they leave them all the stones falling into the middle of the road, I mean, they could at least
Yeah,
put
that's
some
exciting,
effort
yeah.
into
Right. Mhm.
straightening up after themselves, and come up with some way to handle that in the future if they need to have access to those power lines, because of course that may be necessary. Several things came up tonight. I wish I was more awake so that I was able to address them all effectively. But just to go over a few, I know the admin policy came up. I just had a quick question. You were discussing the new manner in which you were going to keep your minutes. And I like the idea of using a timestamp on the minutes that associates to the video. I think that that's going to make that a lot more user-friendly. So I commend you for that idea. I'm wondering if the public comments are going to also be included. And is
Like a
that the-
timestamp, yeah.
yeah,
definitely
just
for each
maybe
section.
just the person's name and a timestamp or whatever it is, so that it's a simpler process for Beth to go through. The volunteer policy also came up. I thought that your visitor log was another great idea. That's a good solution to that problem. I mean, that does allow us to look at the records and see who's coming in and out and see if any of that is excessive at all. So I think, again, that that's a commendable solution to that problem. The only thing I have to say about that is that in one of the wording that you used was that if someone were to have a problem or if they were to see something that looked a little off, that they would go to the administrator. Maybe if we just added somebody else to that list so that it wasn't a singular person who was responsible for that, maybe the administrator or a council person or something like that, just to kind of expand the potential audience for that. I think that that would be helpful. I'm just trying to go down my list here. Quickly, the background check thing came up at the beginning of the meeting, and I'm just a little bit confused because you're saying that there wasn't a background check policy beforehand, but I was asked to fill out a background check. So I gave all my personal information, my social security, all that stuff. Why was I asked to do that if there wasn't a necessity or a policy to do that?
There was a discussion in the executive session about implementing that policy, but it was never done by ordinance. And so there was some
Yeah, it was too
confusion
late
over
in
that.
there.
So it was started to be done and it was done, starting to be implemented. And they said, no, you have to do it by ordinance. And so anyone who submitted paperwork, that has been shredded and destroyed.
Well, actually, it's in my book.
Yeah, I'm just confused. I don't even understand what happened with that.
We said, no, you need to implement an ordinance to do that. And they've always
Right.
done it for the LAA, but this
Right.
way, we said they need.
I mean, I thought, yeah.
Yeah, it was late in the year, we couldn't
confusion came
introduce an
about was
ordinance.
It was discussed in executive, and just like tonight, we almost forgot to talk about some things when we came
Right.
out of executive. That's what happened.
Yeah, and I had no problem filling out the paperwork. If you required a background check, I was happy to give the
Because you have to do it
information.
for the school. and-
Yeah, and I have a million background checks. I just was curious as to why I had submitted information for something that wasn't required at the time. So I guess that explains that. The COA situation, I won't pretend to have any knowledge of how all of these financial matters work. It sounded very confusing. I know that Chairman Van Vliet was talking more about the units in the issue that he was discussing. And then Mayor McKay, you were talking about a trust fund. So I guess that relates to several $100,000. And you used the language, we can't draw from the trust. And then, so I wrote that down, so maybe if you could explain what that means. And then I had asked the question, and again, I apologize, I'm just drawing from these little notes. I had asked the question, how do we pay it back into our own account? So I know that came up also.
I'll try and explain it the way they told me. All right. The way it works is that money comes in from developers into the township in a way of a tax. The township kind of works for COA, works for the state as agent for this tax, and maintains trust accounts. And the money is placed in those trust accounts for the use of, COA projects. You're allowed to take 20% of that money to fund administrative costs. What COA says is a million, about a million, a little over $1 million that were collected during a certain time period. 48% was taken to for administrative costs, and that was far in excess of what it was allowed to be. So it was misspent. It shouldn't have been taken. It should still be in the COA funds. They are saying that we should pay it back, and that because of this discrepancy, this problem, that we are not allowed to retake money, 20% money anymore for administrative costs.
So how do we pay the administrative costs?
The town's paying them.
Wait, who?
I guess the town's paying whatever costs there are at this point.
Okay, so
What they were saying, apparently what they were saying all along, is that once you hit your 20%, I think the problem was that was not the rule.
Yeah,
That
it
wasn't
wasn't.
always the rule, and
No.
at some point it became the rule, and it may not have been known that that was the rule, so. they
So we
would
have to figure out
continue to
what
pay
unit,
COLA
that
expenses
sounds
out of the
strange.
COA account.
We just have to look into it because
So
it was.
there was money that was
Yeah.
dedicated toward this
Yes, $1 million
20%,
came in.
and now we're currently paying that money. So do we not have to pay that amount of money,
We
or
have to look
are we
into
now
it.
drawing from tax money?
We haven't done any.
We haven't done any research. We have to look into it because I know it was brought up and I know the auditor
Okay, because
looked
if
into
the
it years ago.
taxpayers are footing the bill for whatever went wrong, then it's really something we need
Well,
to
if it went
investigate
wrong,
carefully.
I think what they would have said is, all along, you should have paid it out of. your
When he
general
read
fund.
that email, it sounded pretty
Well, they want it
clear.
back, but they want you to take it out of your general, which is what they say you should have paid it out of originally.
Right.
They want you to
Unfortunately,
put it
yeah.
back into your COLA.
But we can't draw from our own trust, so how do we pay the current
Out of your
20%?
general fund.
Right, so
Yeah.
that's our taxpayers.
Right, which what I'm saying though is it should have been paid all along from the taxpayers' money.
Right. Uh-oh.
Which they
Really?
didn't,
Then
yeah.
where's the,
Whoa.
so that's not what he
That's
just
what
said.
COA was saying. Once we went over the 20%, they said you're only allowed to spend 20% on the administrative. If you go over, if you have any legal fees, they're saying it's basically an unfunded mandate at this point. And it's, even though the state is saying you need to do this, they're saying, well, the taxpayer's got to pay it. It's one of those
Yeah,
deals.
Well, that's not what they told me.
Yeah, okay, that needs to be clarified
They
because
said
that's
$1
not right.
million came into the township, $1,066,000, and we were allowed to use $213,000 for administrative fees, but instead spent
Yeah.
$512,000.
They're not saying you couldn't have administrative fees of more than 200,000. They're saying you couldn't pay it out
You
of your
couldn't
trust.
pay it out of the
So if you
trust.
don't pay it out of your trust fund, you pay it out of your general fund.
Well, why would we have,
Because.
almost half of the
legal
money was
expenses.
administrative?
Your planner's been doing.
It looked to me, I took a quick look.
Working at 3 grams.
Mhm.
All right, well, anyway, I can't
It
even
looked like
pretend
most of it was
to,
going into salary.
salary?
There's different classifications that would be paid out of COA.
Mhm.
And when you file your quarterly reports on the CTM or CMT system, whatever it's called, you have to report to COA exactly how you spent the money. Whether you spent, $500 for your planner and $300 for legal.
Right.
And then there's an administrative catch-all, which would be like your COA liaison or your COA officer, the person that's preparing your
Right.
reports
Mhm.
or interacting with the public for COA projects. You could also say have office supplies that would be charged to COA. If you use specific ring binders or a special pen that you use just for COA. And you could charge that to COA.
We have a lot of special pens that we use just for COA, folks.
I think,
I mean, it's just an example.
I think you need to look
And
at
there's
the
a
auditor.
monitoring system that COA has.
Yeah.
And it says here that the monitoring system,
That's
the
probably what
account has been closed and
reconciled.
deemed complete since December of '06.
I'm smart about a lot of things.
You need to talk to the auditors because the reports were being filed incorrectly. There were some
Yeah,
issues and they had to keep going back to the
That's normally what
state.
does happen with the municipality, that they don't
Yeah.
necessarily balance the COA trust with what's filed on the CTM or CT
Right.
system, so.
It's
probably
the
out
COA
of
trust
balance.
was commingled with other trusts, so it would be very hard to do that.
All right,
I
well.
haven't done enough to find out.
I think it's just something that obviously we need to talk about later. I need to research it to even know the questions I'm asking. It just sounded like a lot of money and a lot of big numbers, and I thought we could use some clarification. Lastly, Donna, I'd also like to echo a lot of what Peter was saying in that you are my hero. I appreciate every bit of the abuse that you do take up there, that I have watched you take up there since the very moment you started. And I know that you do that on behalf of this township and for the good of everybody who lives here. And I genuinely appreciate that, because I certainly know it's not easy. And I know it may be, the 500-pound gorilla in the room, and we might not all want to face it, but it's definitely happening. People are definitely being targeted. Clearly, Donna has been put through the ringer a few times on tax issues, and I know the feeling. I've been targeted in my personal life, too, as a result of my involvement in local politics here. So I know that it's happening. I know for a fact. I can attest to it from my own experiences, and it's certainly not fun. And I think that we can do better, and I think that what Donna said is true. It needs to stop. Somebody needs to stop it. If there are allegations going on and those are constant and they are preventing the council and the mayor from doing the business of this township, and they are frivolous or they are excessive and they are abusive to specific individuals, I think that that is a matter that should be investigated. And I don't know how I need to make an official allegation so that we can bring in an independent investigator to look into that, to these particular individuals who might be working or conspiring with members of the employees in the township, or maybe members of council. I don't know, but I know for a fact that it's happening. And I would like to make that allegation so that we could bring in an independent investigator into this township so that we can figure out why people are being bullied this way and why our families are on the table. It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Why our livelihoods are on the table. It's not okay. It's not.
Way. My family has been bullied.
It's not okay.
I haven't bullied anyone's family. Sorry.
I'm just saying, when a lot of official actions have been taken against people, and Donna just went through and described a few of her issues, and I don't know what the language that you used, Donna, but you had said that you had never challenged your taxes.
No, I've never contested my taxes. Whatever my taxes went up, whether it's not like our economy took a plummet and it was a one-time thing. They've been changing. I've never come to this township and said I'm paying too much tax. I've paid it. I just pay it.
But have other people on the council?
Everyone in the township can appeal their taxes. You have to do it
Of
by
course
April
they
1st.
can, but I haven't.
She's saying that she hadn't, so she never had an issue with her taxes. But you had asked the question, so I was just curious. Were we saying
I overpaid for years?
The rest of you have, so you have?
No, I've never appealed my taxes. No. And I mean, if somebody does it, it's a personal thing. I know people in our neighborhood who have done. I know people in town. I know people in town who do it regularly.
No, I have no problem. I don't necessarily.
Oprah, I believe. I don't think that's a personal thing.
Yeah,
those documents can be Oprah.
Public record.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's not personal. Just like my tax bill is not personal.
I mean, if Donna's
It's not
explaining.
embarrassment. Anybody can appeal their taxes. Yeah. Anybody can appeal their taxes at any
Yeah, to
time.
reduce your taxes, but I remember Mayor Steinhardt talking about how much that was, the damage that's why we had ended up in the hole as a township so much because
It was a
so many people appealed their
reevaluation.
taxes.
Well, so many
Right.
people were appealing that the state said you had to come in and now you need to do a reevaluation.
So it did something that, and I'm not saying people don't have the right to do it, heck, maybe I'll do it too. I'm certainly paying a heck of a lot of taxes. I just thought it was another point that needed to, be discussed more thoroughly, and
Is this
and
an
again.
attempt to bully anyone?
Yeah.
That's
What
the
was
only
that?
thing you gotta watch, because anybody, I know there's a lot of people in this audience who have probably appealed their taxes and might be feeling a little out of sorts
I
right
wasn't
now.
saying, I was just saying Donna had said that she hadn't, and she had asked the question, so I don't even understand what the language is. And again, I won't pretend to be a financial expert. I just thought that the question that had been posed hadn't been answered, and it was worth exploring a little bit further as a township. And like I just said, I might very well do that now that I understand that that's an option, that's something
Today was the
no.
deadline.
Oh,
So you
darn
can't.
it, I'll have to do it next year.
And it could backfire on you. You could get a higher assessment. So
Right.
you gotta watch that. You
I
gotta
don't
really
think-
make sure.
I
that
gotta tell you,
yeah.
man, if you look at my assessment, I don't think so. But, I don't have enough time on my hands to do any of that anyway, so I think you're safe. But like I did say that, I definitely feel Donna's pain. We might not want to admit it, and we might want to feel that we're above that cuff, but it is happening. People are taking official action against individuals in an attempt to bully us out of participating in the business of this township. People have gone after my job specifically, and I think that is absolutely disgraceful.
And I'm sure former Mayor Steinhardt and former Councilman Mengucci would agree with you. This is what this township has turned into, and that's why I'm not running again, because I don't want to do that to my daughter.
Okay, good.
Because,
I hear that. I hear
I'm
that.
not, family's family.
Absolutely, absolutely. So anyway, if there's a way for us to have an investigation on that, I think it'd be worth looking into. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay.
Yeah, please. It's almost the next day.
Marla Endick, 10 Byron Drive. Since you all feel that it's a worthwhile endeavor to hire or discuss, I don't remember what actually passed. Are you going to discuss an independent investigator, look at tax, whatever it was? If that was a worthwhile endeavor to do, I would like to put to council that you should have a similar thing done, a discussion to investigate what's going on with COA with an independent auditor. That's what I would like to put.
We
I'd like
certainly
an
do that.
independent auditor to come in to do the research on what's been happening with COA. Thank you.
In fact, let's do a motion on that. I make a motion that.
Can't you close?
Oh, I didn't close the meeting.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
So we need,
Yeah.
no, and I think you would probably need to get quotes, because it could be substantial.
Well, just like when, we wanted a pool auditor, we all
Right.
agreed to get one, and then you guys just hired one anyway, without going to council. So this would be
So
the
it's
same
under
thing.
it's under the QPA's limit. I don't know, can you make an motion during public? I don't know. I don't know. It's like,
No, I'd like to just to get it out there so we take away all the suspicion.
It's being looked into.
We can cap it.
I don't know that we can do it during public comment.
whenever we can do it, there's nothing.
You can do it during.
We can.
Yeah, so make a motion.
Maybe what you recommend is, since you're getting the answers from your current auditor too, which you'll need to provide, maybe get quotes between now and your next meeting so you can take action.
Okay.
All right. So the motion is that we'll begin to take quotes from independent accountants for the possibility of doing an audit of the COA funds. That responsibility will fall to the finance committee. They will go in and try and find someone to do this. And they'll also get the information from the CFO that she gets from the present auditor as to anything they might know about this. That's the motion.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
Could you also share the email that you received from the state with the rest of council?
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on that? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Yes.
Council President
Oh, sorry.
Schneider?
I'm so used to being after Maureen, sorry. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I have to text my husband. He's like that.
Oh, you
We
can't
can't
text.
text during a meeting.
I'm texting my husband.
Are you kidding me?
Sorry.
No way. You made the policy. You made the policy. You just broke the policy.
Jim.
What are we doing here? You just broke the policy.
It's an emergency call. Jim, we're
Okay.
still having the meeting and Donna's
It's
trying to
an
yell at me because I'm
emergency
trying to
call.
tell you we still have the meeting.
It's an
Okay?
emergency. How do
Thank
we
you, bye.
know?
We just
You
voted
just
on
broke the policy.
We
You
shouldn't have
made.
the policy
Let's move
today.
on. It's 11:20.
No, let's move on when it's not something that
calling
I...
me.
Please go.
Unbelievable.
He was calling me, all right? He actually cares about
Carlos
me.
Correa.
Oh, my phone rang before. Don't even try that. You just totally broke it. Oh, my gosh.
Can we move
Oh, my
on?
gosh.
It's almost
You put me
Thursday.
in a newspaper, but then you all agreed to it. It was my husband. So was my child. So what is it? What, your husband's more important? He involved me. Okay. Well, my phone was rang before, too.
Go ahead,
I
Carlos.
need everybody to listen.
It's ridiculous. Come on, Carlos.
I just want to I just want to understand that because a resident has a complaint on Donna Schneider's taxes, you have to hire a special assessor. That's what you.
Not why we're hiring
Resident
him.
made a complaint on several
No,
issues. and we're
there are
just-
several issues.
They're not doing my taxes.
Several issues. They're not doing your taxes. Your taxes are not gonna be part of this.
No.
And what is the complaint that she made on the veterans?
Several items.
Several items.
Several items. Veteran seniors assessed.
So if I come in tomorrow and I make a complaint on 10 of my neighbors, you just go ahead and do it?
Council will vote on it.
But I just don't understand. It just opens up a lot of things that residents now, if I'm angry at 3 neighbors, I might come here and just complain about them. And now you're gonna have to investigate that?
We have
I
to
mean-
investigate complaints, but we have to weigh it, and if something like this is the nature of the complaint for the other issues, we just need to look
Based on
at,
the
that's
nature of
it.
the.
That's it, just so you can lay it to rest, that's all.
Just based on the nature.
Because if you came to us a complaint and we did absolutely nothing on it, that wouldn't be.
But right now, with so many things on the internet, you got Zillow that is gonna tell you what is the assessment of the house.
It's not gonna tell you, some of these issues are things that you cannot find on the internet that were brought to our attention. You can't, it's only in the system. It's not on the internet. Yes, it's things we can't talk about. Thank you.
made a complaint that you would be treated differently than a different resident, another resident, and council voted to look into it.
We're still looking into that, Carlos.
Yes, I know. The thing is my understanding that Ms. Divos was using the list that was posted on for the veterans and using the names of those people are saying, hey, and that's how she issued the complaint. But not all the veterans put their names into that book. So
What?
she used the list that was of the veterans, the list that was on the book.
When did we say that?
You said that.
Didn't say that any of her
Nobody said
complaints
that.
were valid.
She mentioned about they're not valid complaints, but you're
They
investigating.
don't know, they have to look.
Carlos, we'll look.
Okay, you look into it. Thank you.
Okay. Now, it's time to make a motion to come out of public comment. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now it's time for the big one, the motion to adjourn.
Motion, second.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.